Hello, hello, everybody. We are here. You are here. We're doing it. We're doing another show. We're doing another show. Can you believe it? It's going to be great. Starting off the week strong. Wonderful show today. If you're here, welcome. Congratulations. We got the Prodigal Hegelian, Cody's account. We got Nova Alf. Okay, what's up, everybody? Hey, quick request. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button right off the bat here. If we get those algorithms running early, then, maybe, just maybe, some people will find the show live. And wouldn't that be nice? I think it would. So give us that little thumbs up. Oh, Liar Bliss is here. Got the t-shirt. Good. Hope it was the right size. If not, check your email. All t-shirt council members should check their email for an email waiting for them. It may get sent to spam. It may be somewhere else. So just search our email address in your inbox, canarycryradio@gmail.com. Easy peasy. Other than that, folks, we're going to get this show started in just a moment. Remember, you can join the text message alert system by texting the word Canary to 877-740-3226, and you can start receiving text notifications when we go live. Speaking of which, I will send out the text for today's show right now. Okay, it's going. It's spinning. It's going. Okay, cool. Hundreds of people around the world just got a text from their best buddy Basil. I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to go. Thank you, Nova. Nova says that they went ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Appreciate that. Thank you, Garden Revelation, for that thumbs up as well. I mean it. It really helps the show out when we get those early on. Okay, I think it's time. I think it's time we do it. Let's start this show.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is May 1st, 2023. This is episode 618. We are live to tape. Today's episode, SatanCon artists. SatanCon artists. You get it. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit films. Wife calls me the Cabana Boy. Your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena. It's May Day. May 1st. Yes.
It's a phenomena that has emerged. The date, May 1st. Is yes. May Day, everybody. It's happy May Day. So far, I have not heard any explosions or seen anything.
I saw a pretty bad car accident this morning. I was pumping some gas, and I turned. I heard a huge, loud screech. I turned, and the car was upside down, sliding across the
Oh my God!
Right by the I guess it was the entry to one of the highways there. But yeah, people immediately stopped and ran over and tried to help, and it was crazy.
That's serious business.
Yeah,
okay. Well,
yeah, and then I think there was a
folks.
big pileup in Illinois too. So I don't know what. Maybe they triggered some kind of car chip thing, but
I heard about that one. I heard about what was it, like a sandstorm or something?
I don't know.
Saw some videos. I don't know. It's a rough day, folks. It's May Day. Always keep an eye out for May Day. Of course, the sort of ancient pagan holidays all falling on the same day there, as well as some fun activities. Always some fun activities from the occult elite. But that's for another day. Today, Gons, we got a great show. We're going to need to give out a disclaimer for this one, though.
Yes, let's start with that.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right, Gons. Let me give you a bit of a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
That's right. We're starting out the show, folks, taking a look at SatanCon. That's right. The world's biggest satanic conference took place, I believe, over the weekend. All sorts of interesting clips and tips coming out of the American satanic community, and some interesting connections with, some trends we've been seeing in the media. Then, of course, Flippy update. Humans are fighting back. We'll tell the story of one woman who had just had enough of the robotic rascals. Then we will be deeping dive. We'll be deeping dive into Biden's new panopticon surveillance state. Well, not new, but new, lightly used surveillance state that he is coming out trying to sell again. Some connections with Mexican drug cartels. Governor Newsom launching a new fentanyl trafficking. I was going to say launching a new fentanyl trafficking ring, but no, there's a new operation to target the fentanyl tracking, which is, well, pretty ironic for reasons that will become clear. And then, of course, Cleveland, Texas. Yes, the awful events over the weekend. Someone's still on the loose. We'll be chatting about that, as well as some gun control. Second half of show here. Big news coming through on the Epstein situation. We'll be taking a look at his private calendar and see who he may have been cavorting with. The answers will certainly not shock you at all. And then, of course, the ongoing marriage between the military-industrial complex and the surveillance state, and how NATO branding is being protected by excellent propagandists. And then at the end, what does Antarctica's ice taste like? We will tell you, all to come. But first, our lead stories, Gons.
You and I live in an age of deceit.
He's a Satanist.
All right, SatanCon. You know, it used to be that Satanists would go knocking on people's doors, kind of like this guy.
This guy comes to my house. He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies and melt those babies into candles, their skin, and that's supposed to give them more demonic power. And these Satanists came to my house, 5 of them, and threatened my life.
Real fired up, man. Those 5 Satanists going door to door, but no more. They now have SatanCon. According to WCVB 5, that's an ABC outlet. Provocative Salem-based Satanic Temple holds sold-out convention in Boston. Oh my goodness. All right, we'll get to the report here.
They are 800 strong for the second annual conference of SatanCon.
A lot of people think we worship the devil. That's not true. We don't believe that the devil exists, or God, or heaven, or hell.
Specially dressed for lectures like Deconstructing Your Religion, there's a marketplace with books that include Speak of the Devil and Compassionate Satanism. There's colorful demon attire.
Okay, the demon attire, just so people listening understand, they're showing some people at this conference some books or whatever. They have, they show a girl who has pink and blue stranded hair dye, but also pink horns, and wearing her mask because, pandemic.
Colorful.
Yeah. And then you have another, when they talk about the demon dressed people, is a guy in like a black robe looking thing with a mask of what looks like an alien, like a usual typical alien gray type of skeleton or something with a little bit thinner eyes with the huge horns. Demon dress up. Yeah. So that's what's going on.
There's colorful demon attire and attendees from around the world.
I'm just really excited about meeting a lot of people that I've only seen on Zoom and on Facebook. I'm excited to meet a lot of people I watch on YouTube.
A lot of people she watches on YouTube. Apparently people that are on YouTube go to SatanCon. Maybe that's why we're
Satanists, they get to stay.
Yeah, they get to hang out and get lots of followers, but apparently not us. The girl that was speaking there, mask on, obviously, and the more horns. A lot of horns at the SatanCon. People, dressed up for the parts.
Yeah. And just in case there's new people, just to address what was one of the first lines in the thing, talking about how they don't really worship Satan. They just have all this other stuff. And we've gone through this before, but just as a reminder, there's two different schools of thought on Satanism in the U.S. There's the Church of Satan and there's the Satanic Temple. One of them claims to be more of an art project, where it's more about, fighting against the influences of religion.
Oppression,
and they consider themselves to be more humanists, and they don't believe in the devil as a sort of literally. But they have more of a sort of philosophical take on it. And it's very much more of like what they claim.
Oh, we lost you. Sorry, can you repeat that? We lost you for a second.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, yeah. So there's not I'm trying to think of something else besides art project, performance art type of situation.
It's a ritual. It's an open ritual. Right. It's just they're not calling it that. Yeah.
And the other one does actually, claim to worship the literal Satan, and that's two different things. So that one fella, I'm curious, maybe or maybe it'll come on later. Is SatanCon put on by the Church of Satan or the Satanic Temple?
It's being reported as the Satanic Temple. That's what the logo says and everything. So I believe this is the same group that, because I recognize the logo as well. I mean, obviously the pentagram, the sideways star with the Baphomet face in there. We covered the Satanic Temple. They had their whole abortion raffle giveaway. Do you remember that whole thing?
Right.
Where we were looking at their whole kind of rights thing with abortions, but with it was like, hey, sign up and, we're giving away an abortion. It was like, oh, that's kind of weird. We also had some boots on the ground report over the years from Lil Mossad. I don't know if he still listens, but I remember he gave us some stuff going on with SatanCon, and I think it was Arizona where some of the legislative stuff was going on. And so, let's continue on with this report because there's a little bit more here that's interesting.
You want to sacrifice children?
Outside of the Copley Marriott Hotel, protesters fill the sidewalk.
They get the word Satan from the Bible, a book they actually say they don't believe.
Satan is an archetype for rebellion against tyrannical, arbitrary authority.
Well, first of all, why are they all wearing masks? What is this? Is that part of the rebellion here, is to follow the guidance
ritual
of the scientarianism elite? That's the...
Yeah. We're so rebellious against arbitrary authoritarianism that we still wear our masks.
We just keep
from
wearing
COVID.
Masks. All right.
Tyrannical, arbitrary authority.
Rebels.
Red stands for courage and for the blood of the martyrs that we are willing to shed.
Why are you here today?
We are here to do an act of reparation to God for the sins and offenses that are being committed here in this Marriott Hotel.
This year is...
Okay, real quick, before we move on, that was, so they kind of reported on what was going on outside, the protesters, and this particular group, it looks like a group of, I don't know what, do you know who they are, Basil? They're kind of like, I don't know, young men wearing suits. They have the red sash thing on there. They have signs that says, Satan has no rights and one nation under God excludes Satanism, things like that. They're playing bagpipes, and then this fellow that looks like he's straight out of, I don't know, like 1920s communist Russia or something. The way he's dressed with the whole red sash and everything, talking about how this is
Satan has no rights, they say.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It's an interesting refrain.
Yeah, it's almost the wrong thing to put there. You know, if you're going to protest this thing outside, maybe it's exactly the thing.
I want to know more. I want to.
Okay, here we go.
They're willing to shed.
Why are you here today?
We are here to do an act of reparation to God for the sins and offenses that are being committed here in this Marriott Hotel.
This year, a special ritual room where you can witness an unbaptism and even a wedding.
So you ask about it, we'll tell you it's the coming home religion. It's the thing they always were, and they just didn't have a name for it yet.
Yeah, so this is a bunch of atheists and agnostics discovering that, hey, we could just be Satanists. Or at least Satanic Templists or whatever.
Right.
And hang out and dress up fun and make fun of Christians and make them mad and, you know, do all the things that bring joy, apparently. So
here's a quick little interesting, just for a second. On the SatanCTemple.com, we were talking about the differences between the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan. They have this on the SatanCTemple.com. The Satanic Temple has become the primary religious satanic organization in the world, with congregations internationally and a number of profile public campaigns designed to preserve and advance secularism and individual liberties. The rise of the Satanic Temple has been met with an increase in commentary regarding what Satanism is, as media outlets struggle to grasp how this upstart religion has begun to shift religious liberty debates with the mere claims of equal access. With unfortunate regularity, the Satanic Temple is confused with an earlier organization, the Church of Satan, founded by Anton Szandor LaVey in the 1960s, to the apparent chagrin of both. The Church of Satan...
They're mad at each other.
They are. They're mad at each other. There's like a battle. Listen to this.
Come on.
The Church of Satan expresses vehement opposition to the campaigns and activities of the Satanic Temple, asserting themselves as the only true arbiters of Satanism, while the Satanic Temple dismisses the Church of Satan as irrelevant and inactive. They have this quick reference guide where they have two columns. One is the Satanic Temple, one is the Church of Satan, and they are sort of comparing themselves to the Church of Satan, the 1960s Anton LaVey Church of Satan. And I won't go through the whole thing, but there's some interesting differences that they're pointing out. They say, taken seriously by credible religious scholars as a manifestation of modern Satanism. And there's a check mark in both columns, both the Satanic Temple and Church of Satan. But some interesting... the differences that they point out are things like fights for secularism. That's something the temple does that the church does not. Defends reproductive rights. That's something the temple does, church does not. Has a physical headquarters. Again, you guessed it. Temple does, church does not. Goes through, has local chapters, actively growing. The temple is, the church is not. But then it goes all the way to pretty sick burns, like, let's see here, socially and politically active, the temple is, the church is not. Authoritarian is on the list and says the temple is not, but the Satanic Church is authoritarian. So they kind of seems like they have some beef between the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan.
Well, divide and conquer is a heck of a way to do things, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seems
to be a common method there. The New York Post. Before the New York Post here, we have this woman. This is the clip that went viral on Twitter anyway, a few million views. A woman at the opening ceremony ripping pages out of the Bible, but there's something there that I thought was kind of interesting. And she's ripping pages out. She's throwing it on the ground. And cheering, yes. Blasphemy. And then when it goes to the floor there, they show, obviously, the torn pages. But there are also strewn amongst the pages $100 bills. I counted about 20, more than 20. So what do you think that is? Is that, part of her payoff that she accidentally left in the Bible? Like, hey, this is the Bible you're supposed to rip out. Here's your cash.
Came out of the Bible, yeah.
Make sure you pocket that before you go ripping it out. And she forgot. And now she's up there throwing money and, or is this a purposeful ritual, sort of a miracle thing?
I mean, knowing what we know about the Satanic Temple, I'm sure there was like an earlier part of this display that had something to do with money or something. Those Satanists. They're so flashy.
Yes. So the New York Post had the headline: hundreds of protesters swarm sold out SatanCon in Boston. Hellfire awaits. And they have a video here, and the video was interesting because all it was kind of a like an iPhone footage of the woman that was performing the anti or reverse baptism or whatever. And so she's got this little altar here. She's wearing a mask again, an upside down cross. It goes on for a few minutes, but I just got the last 26 seconds or so, because I think it summarizes the whole situation. Now, throughout the process here, she's reading out of a book. She's telling things to this guy or gal, this individual, who is in a black robe, fully covered, can't see the face, nothing. And yes, they're going through this debaptism. So here's the footage.
Today, you cast off archaic belief. Today, you disavow that which has harmed you, lied to you, condemned you to suffering. Let you drink from the fruit of Eden. No longer are you bound. Today, you are free. Hail Satan! Hail Satan! Hail Satan! Hail Satan!
There it is.
Wow.
Hail Satan.
Such enthusiasm.
Yeah, well, I was immediately reminded of some old clips. This whole movement has been ongoing for a long time, as we mentioned earlier. And there's a documentary out there about Satanism, and I remember playing the clip, and I found it here. It's 18 seconds.
We do indeed invoke Satan.
We have gone from 3 people to 50,000.
There's no doubt that this is my life's work.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
So the movement grows, Basil. I mean, anybody who's against any kind of religious institution or system, which, you and I are both believers. We believe Jesus is Lord and he's going to make things right in the end. And in the meantime, things are messed up, and we get that. But also we understand the fallible nature of man-made institutions, which a lot of religious infrastructure is, and so there's that constant battle. But it's just interesting how Satanism itself is sort of, let me be clear, this version of representing Satan, whether they believe in it literal or not, this act and the whole performance here, becoming an option for the general public, I think is an interesting thing. And as we watch the mainstream media sort of blow up, right, with the whole Tucker thing the last couple weeks and Don Lemon, and the ongoing process, it seems like we are being herded into different networks. And we talk about the network state, right? But I think when we talk about ideologies that people share, where they're able to share thoughts and ideas and express it and all this stuff, Twitter is kind of the example now where you can flip based on ownership, what kind of ideologies get highlighted or are acceptable or whatever the case may be. So I thought it was interesting in contrast to this, because we saw a lot of people say, hey, pray against this conference. There's a lot going on. And there's reports about, a lot of believers making the call out to storm, I think it was storm the gates in heaven, not on earth kind of thing, which is kind of a January 6th, like a spiritual January 6th moment. So in that vein, I thought it was interesting that Vanity Fair, of all places, obviously Vanity Fair, pretty mainstream leftist, had this headline: Tucker Carlson's prayer talk may have led to Fox News ouster. Quote, that stuff freaks Rupert out. And the whole idea here, let me just find the spot, because, so a new theory has emerged, as if we don't have enough theories about why Tucker was fired. According to the source, Fox Corps chair Rupert Murdoch removed Carlson over remarks Carlson made during a speech at the Heritage Foundation's 50th anniversary gala on Friday night. Carlson laced his speech with religious overtones that even Murdoch found too extreme, the source who was briefed on Murdoch's decision-making said. Carlson told the Heritage audience that national politics has become a Manichean battle between good and evil. Carlson said that people advocating for transgender rights and DEI programs want to destroy America, and they could not be persuaded with facts. Quote, "We should say that and stop engaging in these totally fraudulent debates. I've tried. That doesn't work," he said. The answer Carlson suggested was prayer. Quote, "I have concluded it might be worth taking just 10 minutes out of your busy schedule to say a prayer for the future, and I hope you will," he said. That stuff freaks Rupert out. He doesn't like all that spiritual talk, the source said. So maybe Rupert Murdoch showing his true colors there, but otherwise it just seems like mainstream media is going to start merging with like the Satanic Temple kind of ideologies. If you're talking about left and progressive and all that kind of stuff, it's very easy for this form of Satanism to slip in and be like, yeah, hey, we're just bringing all these people that are disenchanted together, and under this rebellious,
It's ironic because of the parallels you see with, the Satanic Temple, the anti-religion religion.
Right.
Join our religion because we don't believe in religion and we worship the devil, and we don't, this sort of postmodern, it's not even just a worldview, it's really a mode of thinking. Postmodernism, which is you can simultaneously hold a belief and act as if you hold the exact opposite belief. And it's similar, for example, the mask issue, similar to, a lot of different people on the left who are like, yes, I'm a resistor, I'm a radical, I'm a rebel. And the only people who agree with me is everyone, including the government and corporations and the banks and, that kind of thing. Yeah. And it's extremely effective for control. I mean, we've seen it in so many of its obvious manifestations in the media. Yeah. But this is just kind of another manifestation of the same thing, which is like, oh, I see you're a radical. I see you're a rebel. Well, why don't you join up with 50,000 other radicals and rebels, and you can all be radical and rebel together in one place, so we can sort of control you and put you to work for our political purposes. For Satan. It's similar to when we saw the Christian right first become a voting bloc, in that the powers that be at the time, this was mid-20th century, realized that if they could simply find a way to gather all the Christians into one ideological box and treat them as a voting bloc and, scare them away from having different politics. And it became one of the most powerful voting blocs in the country. And I think it's funny because you can't do that without a cohesive sort of, what's the word for it? Obedient, I guess, organization that is holding the whole thing together. And that seems to be what the Satanic Temple is very effectively doing in the name of secularism.
It's so passive aggressive. It's like, oh, we're not doing it. We're kind of doing it. Yeah. No, we're not doing. That's not who we are. But they can just kind of keep doing it. They're like two-faced about it. But also, I think we identified this whole apparatus a long time ago.
State and federal health officials.
I mean, news reports were saying Satan federal health officials. Pretty, things are obvious. So there you go. I mean, that's
well. You point out the Tucker thing, and I think there's an interesting, again, sort of broadening of the theory that I just tried to stutter through, which is if you're a conservative and even more so if you're a Christian or identify as a Christian, you are more and more being pushed into what we would call the independent space, the non-affiliated sort of space. Right. So you have the conservative / Christian right identifying more and more and more with non-identification, with with independent, for instance, media on the internet, stuff like that. Whereas you have the left, who is being more herded into a more organized, sort of controllable organizational pattern, like the Church of Satan. So
it does make sense that, hey, if we can get them to dress up as demons and walk around and do rituals and all that kind of stuff, that's our target audience there.
Which is a bit of a shift, it's a bit of a shift from how you used to think of, Christians versus Satanists. Christians, they come together at church and they have very strong community bonds in your community, and they're very involved in the sort of broader social scene of your community. Where the Satanists, they're the loners in the forest, and they're doing antisocial things, right? And now we're kind of in this position where and again, the media plays a big role in this, in setting this standard. Now you have the Christians are the ones who are becoming kind of the antisocial ones, not joining the big organizations or whatever. And you have the Satanists all coming together to have a big party. It's a very interesting paradigm shift.
Yeah, that is funny. Well, no surprises, but it's just become more and more obvious, I guess, as the groups form. The problems with the other side become more and more apparent, right? As we drift further apart, we get a better view of what was going on. So,
interesting parallels too with decentralization in things like finance and data.
Yeah,
stuff that.
In my notes, I had mentioned here about how the alt media is pretty much becoming mainstream with the way things are happening in the last year or so. With the Tucker thing being sort of another big boost in that direction.
Which is kind of the trend we pointed out a while back when all those mainstream people were going independent.
Yeah, regardless of what side, right? They're sort of retooling from both sides. And it is creating, because we've been talking about the multipolar world order with World War III and all this kind of stuff. And a similar thing seems to be taking place in at least American media. I'm sure it's international too, but in American media, where it used to be this monopoly, and it still kind of is, but the monopoly itself is sort of giving birth to the alt world. You know what I mean? Like the people that were in the original beast system are sort of being deployed to create the new one. And and that's where the trick is, where you kind of have to go, okay, you really got to know where that money is coming from. Follow the money, the old adage, because it might help us understand more where the original sort of intent or ideologies or source is coming from. But I don't know. I find it very interesting. And I guess we are part of the independent side. I mean, we're kind of out there. Old
school independent.
We're sort of pedaling our own carriage over here, and just watching things go by.
The old pedaled carriage.
Maybe we're pedaling a watchtower. We're kind of up there. We see the horizon. We're reporting on the horizon as watchmen. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, like on a bike, like we're
really
pedaling a bike.
Yeah.
With really. Okay, that makes just as much as anything else. On this Monday, Gons, we're doing it. We're starting it out.
What day is it? Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
It's Monday, folks. We're starting the week out. We're glad you're here with us, Gons. Anything happen over the weekend that you just must report on?
Well, other than the car accident I semi-witnessed this morning, over the weekend, had an interesting experience at the local church here. We had a substitute pastor. Our regular pastor was on a well-deserved vacation, post-Easter and all that. And the substitute pastor brought up penguins. I was oh, that's really kind of weird. And he brought up this documentary that he believes everyone should watch. It's called Penguins on Disney Nature. And he made a whole sermon out of talking about penguins. And
I have a penguin
stunned.
documentary.
I was like, wow, okay, interesting substitute. You take the substitute opportunity and you're dropping penguin truths.
Did he go on a rant about the health benefits of penguin pineal glands?
I was waiting for that, but no, that's something I told him afterwards. I told him, hey, you really should have gone into the pineal gland theory about the penguins. No. But so there was that. Also, kind of fun. I saw a DeLorean on the road. The Back to the Future.
Yeah,
that was fun. But that's it.
Sometimes it's the little things, folks.
I know.
That's what keeps us going around here. Yeah. Pretty not boring, just an uneventful weekend for me, except for the baby chicks. The baby chicks, they keep growing. They're my little clucking goblins that are still living inside of a big metal trough. And they are pretty big now and have started sort of expressing themselves like all teenagers do by breaking out of their enclosure and terrorizing everyone in the house. The cats, the bunnies, the chickens. There's 9 animals in this house now, which it sort of sneaks up on you. Sort of just kind of sneaks up on you. And it's just about time to get those chickens outside with the rest of the flock.
You're like Noah. You're just building your little ark.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And the rabbits are multiplying at such a rate that the ark is going to start sinking.
That is interesting. When Noah was on the ark, did the reproduction? I mean, some of it must have already started, right? Mm-hmm. With some of the animals. So it was getting heavier.
Yeah, well, that's why he brought the bunnies, because by the time that the ark landed on the land, they're like 13 generations in on the bunnies. They've gone from 2 bunnies to like 4,000. Right. But the baby dinosaurs had to eat something. It's a renewable protein source.
Yeah. Well.
Speaking of renewable protein sources, Gons, it's time to thank some executive producers.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. You know it. You love it. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. No advertising, no affiliate codes, no platform partnerships, no nothing. And it's not just because nobody wants to listen to advertisements. It's because corporate money equals corporate incentives. And there's no place for corporate interests in independent media. If there's corporate money and corporate interests infecting your independent media, well, that is not independent media. That is corporate media. Maybe Elon should start labeling certain independent outlets with actually corporately sponsored independent media.
Well, he has been doing that. He should give special badges to like the value for value people.
Yeah, should have its own badge on Twitter. But
100% agree.
Today's not that day, folks. Yeah. But we are funded entirely by people who receive value from this show. It's a paradigm shift, not in just keeping independent media alive, but how we live our lives. No longer should we let corporations decide what lives and what dies. And by what, I mean shows. And by who, I mean podcasters. So instead of relying on corporations to make the choice for us, we take it into our own hands. When we receive value from a piece of independent media, we put value back in. And here you can do that with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Lots of ways to do it. But the executive producers are those who come in. They're very generous and honest with the value they receive and put back into the show. And we want to thank them right now. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to be starting out with executive producer Isaac G.
Isaac G, thank you very much.
Yes. Executive producer Isaac G, thank you so much. We, of course, everybody knows Isaac is the producer, just my main man, who helps me, helps us accomplish the impossible with the Canary Christ supply drop and the T-shirt council. More on that later. But executive producer Isaac G comes in. He's on a 12-episode streak. So might as well be walking on the sun. That's right. He's walking on the sun. Thank you, Isaac G. He came in with a number that I'm not exactly sure how to read, but it came in to me. Oh, you know what I bet it was? Yeah. I bet it was $177.77. That's my guess. Very generous. Thank you, Isaac G. And here's a note from Isaac. I believe that this will complete my knighthood.
Ooh.
Yes, finally, I can say Sir Isaac.
Yes.
And it can be true instead of just sort of a figment of my imagination. His note continues, I would like to be knighted Sir Ike, the tinfoil hat man, six-string strummer of the East Ozark Highlands, and keeper of the honking cobra chicken.
Oh boy.
Which is, I think, now will hold many records when it comes to knight names.
We should penalize so that they get shorter, not
reward
the longer, because that's just asking
Isaac
for
G,
longer.
If anyone is allowed to have a long night name, it's Isaac G.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe we cap it with Isaac G's number.
Yeah, let's see. How many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 words. Okay.
20 or 21?
All right, everybody. It's capped off at 20 words. See if you can figure out a night name in under 20 words. Now, Sir Isaac, we're very excited about this. We'll be doing a knighting later on in the show for Isaac G. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Isaac G.
Where'd you find this?
Okay, here's another one we haven't seen in a while, but always a pleasure. We have executive producer Bush Protector.
Bush Protector, good to see you. Thank you very much.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Bush Protector came in with a nice round number, so we won't disclose that. And no notes, just simple, clean executive producership. Thank you very much,
Thank
Bush
you very
Protector.
much.
Where'd you find this?
We also have another executive producer. Great day. Great day. Of course, some of these people came in for Friday's Canary Cry radio episode as well. So there's credit going all around. But last we have got executive producer Sir Martin K., Knight of the Wrong Timeline.
Thank you, Sir Martin K. Appreciate it.
Now, Sir Marty K. came in on the 29th with an email. I don't know if you saw that. Is regarding your guitar. Guitar. He also had some tips on Danish rock music, which seems very cool. I couldn't quite tell if this note, and it had some files attached to it, so maybe it's for the production segment. So let me just read a piece of this here.
Okay.
I like it when you got the guitar on the show, Gonzo. You got that guitar swagger going in this timeline, which I prefer far more than the other timeline I was in, where Gonzo played the flute, which were unpleasant. Yes, I am aware of that. That trans-dimensional Gonz who plays the flute.
Is that why my wife is a flute player, and she actually grew up, pursuing professional flute playing. She did not.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know this.
So maybe that, some imprints going on. Maybe identifying some spiritual things going on. Yeah.
Well, he sent here 2 OG Danish rock music tracks from the Danish rock band DAD, D-A-D, formerly known as Disneyland After Dark. Oh no, they are a Danish national treasure. And the all-time favorite rock band of the Danish Royal Crown Prince. And it is kid and family-friendly music, too.
Okay.
D.A.D., Sleeping My Day Away. Okay, he sent a couple tracks here. I think you're really going to like the guitar threads on this one, Gonzo, especially the guitar solo. And a track for Basil, too, Minutemen, Corona. What's up with the title of this track? Well, thank you very much, Sir Marty K. Knight of the Wrong Timeline. We're glad you're in ours.
Where'd you find this?
All right.
Okay. So there you go. Those are the executive producers. Thank you so much for everybody's generosity and participation in keeping this show alive. We cannot and would not do it without you. Speaking of which, Gons, real quick, I want to talk about the supply drop.
Oh, sorry. Reading an email. That is not a good. That was bad on me. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Canary Cry Meetup.
That's
Start talking about our producers.
We'll do meetups too.
Wait, what are we doing? Supply drop. Supply drop.
No. You already did meetups. We'll do meetups real quick.
Sorry.
Go to canarycrymeetups.com, folks. Canarycrymeetups.com is where the meetups for the show being held all around the country and the world are listed. You can find them near you. There was rough time for meetups.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the thing because we had. What was it? It was the St. Augustine meetup.
Yes, that's why I had meetup on the mind. I got distracted by the St. Augustine meetup email, and that's probably why I played meetup. I'm sorry, I'm completely distracted by this email from Stefan. I think should we just read it?
Well, is it to be read?
I'm not sure. It looks kind of like a report.
There's a bit of there's a lot going on. Let's check it out real quick. So this is from Stefan from the St. Augustine meetup in Florida. He says, this is my report of the meetup. Things didn't go as planned. Due to the threat of rain in the forecast on Friday, the director of the First Coast Suzuki Players made a last-minute call to push up the start time to 10:30. Since I hadn't received any RSVPs, I didn't have anyone to give a heads up. We set up 3 lawn chairs under a shady oak with the customary placards of well-recognizable faces of Basil and Gons staked on the ends of half-inch PVC pipe. If anyone familiar with CC&T came by, they would be certain that this was the place. My son, Luke, sat alone through the performance while Marcia and I played keyboard and bass on the gazebo in front of the string players, ranging from 6 to adults in age. So yes, remember, this was like Stefan S. was like playing with a band.
Right.
They sent a video of the thing. It's like a mix of kids and adults and kind of like an orchestra type of thing here. Very interesting. The performance ended a little before 11:30, and it took just a few minutes to clear the gazebo of our equipment. I sat with Luke in the chairs while Marcia chatted with some parents. We ate our picnic and bailed after 12 p.m. without anyone showing. No.
Aww.
Later that day, I did receive an email from a Canarian, but I had forgotten my email phone. You gotta have your special email phone. The creepy thing was the FBI dude in the gazebo after the show.
Yes.
While sitting and waiting, I observed the sorts of folks hanging around the park. It's a cut of homeless folks and tourists whose apparel makes them really identified. What does that say? Readily identified. In the attached picture, you see 2 pedestrians who are easily classified. However, there was this dude observing from the gazebo, overlooking our location, fiddling with his phone. He left around 11:40. I guessed he considered there was nothing going on. Well, look, it's never fun when nobody shows up too. I am surprised.
Yeah.
There was a mounting force of Florida Canarians that we have observed even over the past few months, especially years. I thought for sure we would get a big old pile of Canarians here in this Florida meetup. Maybe the rain chased him away, but he did receive a email after the thing. So I don't know. This is a very strange Florida meetup. Lesson to learn. If you can, you should at least make contact with the host beforehand, because, you never know when rain will strike or the FBI will be watching. It's a good time.
Guy definitely does look like a little FBI guy. Just kind of
FBI guy. Yeah, he's got the look. Well, sorry to hear about that, Stefan. And I don't know what to say. The Florida Canarians, I know you're out there. We're very disappointed in you, but it sounds, can't even say it with a straight face. But seriously, go to the meetups, folks.
Yeah, go to meetups.
And then also the Houston meetup had to be rescheduled because they didn't realize while scheduling it that it was Mother's Day or the days before Mother's Day, something like that. So it wasn't really working out. So there you go. Houston meetup was going to be the 13th of this month, I believe, and now it's being rescheduled. So go get in touch with the host if you are in the Houston area. Man, if nobody shows up to the Houston meetup, something is wrong because we have there might literally be 1,000 Canarians in Houston if the analytics are to be believed. So anyways, go to canarycrymeetups.com, folks. Find a meetup near you. And if there's not one near you, put one on yourself. Just send us an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com with your time and your day. It's easy. Meet people around you who listen to the same podcast. Can almost guarantee that you're going to get along. Okay.
We doing a supply drop?
Supply drop! Supply drop. That's right. CanaryCrySupplyDrop.com. It is a special elite squadron of producers who keep this show going by supporting the show in the amount of $33.33 per month. That's just $2.77 an episode. What a deal. And in return, you will start receiving in the mail every 3 months, every quarter, a package filled with Canary Cry gear. Sometimes it's survival gear. Sometimes it's gardening stuff. Sometimes it's apparel. Sometimes it's ninja stars. Sometimes there's a lot of variation. It's cool stuff. We put it together just for you, producer produced, artist designed, made in America, Canary Cry gear. And this year we have made the decision. We have started the process. Age of Deceit. The whole series of Age of Deceit films, you know, the ones that Gons made that are the most important films ever to grace the internet, and yet have been disappearing. It's hard to keep them up. We are going to be shipping out hard copies of these documentaries, Age of Deceit 1, 2, and 3, creating a network, if you will, of human beings who will, they're paying attention. They listen to the podcast. They will survive. And it's only through them that the Age of Deceit series will ever see the light of day once full internet lockdown becomes a reality. And and you'll get them. We will send them to you. We'll print them on DVD. We will send them to you. I don't know. Maybe Gons will even sign all of them. Get ready to sign a few hundred copies, Gons. It'll just be a wonderful thing. So if this is something you're interested in, join the supply drop by going to canarycrysupply.com. And Gons, I want to thank a couple people who did that over the weekend. You ready?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Everybody, stand to your feet. Rousing round of applause, and thank our new supply dropper, Shivy Shivs.
Shivy Shivs.
Shivy Shivs. Thank you very much, Shivy Shivs. Hope you like the supply drop. Go make sure you got your DVD player, Blu-ray player ready, because it's going to be an Age of Deceit marathon coming up. We also have new supply dropper, Denise V.
Denise, thank you very much, Denise.
You know, I can't imagine somebody has found this show or finds it compelling without ever having seen Age of Deceit. But if that is the case and you haven't seen it, this will change everything. It really rounds out your if you're listening to this, you're going to love Age of Deceit, and good luck finding it. So the supply drop is one way to guarantee access, not just for you, but for the rest of the world.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. That's all the people I'm thanking for now, Gons.
Waiting for supply drop.
Ready for some Flippy?
Let's do it.
Flippy. Here we go, Flippy. Where are you, Flippy?
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
All right, folks, it's time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world. Now there's nothing we can do about it. We explore lots of different topics, philosophical, technological, sociological, and, put these topics in the context of the coming robo-war. But it may have already begun, Gons. This is coming from DailyMail.co.uk. Headline, maybe it was pushing her buttons.
Yeah.
Watch the bizarre moment when a woman flips out at a robot receptionist and smashes it up with a plank of wood. Are you ready? New footage captures the moment a woman loses her cool with a robot receptionist and smashes it up with a plank of wood. A bizarre incident which took place at a hospital in China shows the unidentified woman beating the unfortunate machine 5 times while shouting furiously. Fragments of the bot are sent spinning across the lobby floor as she delivers powerful blows
You want to
to
hear
its
some
head
sound?
and torso.
There's
Sure.
sound to this. Yeah, let's
hear it.
Here we go. Now, hold on, we got to get that first crack in there. I'm sorry. There it is.
Ooh, that was a big
Right
big
to the
bonk.
head. Yeah.
Big bonk on that
Yelling
robot.
at it, pointing at it. Here's another swing.
Very upset.
There it is.
Yeah.
Still yelling at it. Pointing at it or something. Another swing. Oh!
Oh gosh.
This is violent. We can't have this. We must protect the robots. They deserve,
It's interesting.
deserve rights.
I wonder if this is going to be like a Franz Ferdinand situation. You know, the first incident that kicks off the Robo War was this sort of what's it called? Robo racist, speciesist hate crime.
It's a hate
going
crime.
on.
Yeah. Can't just beat up a robot. What did the robot do to you? Other than maybe
let's find
make
out.
errors,
It goes on. But despite the damage inflicted on it, the plucky robot appears to survive the savage attack when it turns its head and lifts its right arm. Robots can also be the perpetrators of violence. Now, this is what I love, okay? As we move into the era of humans and robots coexisting peacefully. Of course, we here have a robot hate crime to encourage this woman in any way would be irresponsible and wrong, and we do not condone violence, of course, but you know what, something's got to give one of these days. But I do like the reporting from DailyMail, because it's not just about the woman committing this horrific act of violence against a toaster. It then goes directly in. Robots can also be the perpetrators of violence. Find people on both sides, Gons. As demonstrated last year when a chess-playing machine broke a child's finger in Moscow.
There it is. Hey, we knew that was going to be used as part of the narrative, and there you go.
Exactly. We mentioned it at the time, but that's the type of thing that's going to come up to fuel the hatred. Now, we talk about the sort of media-driven divisions in left and right and Christian and secular and black and white and all these things. The media is very good at programming the worldviews of people all around the world for the benefit of whatever narrative is currently at play by the elites. And what we have here is good old-fashioned narrative crafting between, robots and humans. Hey, look, this human committed a crime. But remember, robots can also hurt babies playing chess. Dun, dun, dun. Everybody, come on now. Whatever side you're on, you got something to be mad about here. According to JINGLE Morning News, the recent incident took place at affiliated hospital of Zhuzhou Medical University at the city of Zhuzhou. Staff at the hospital judged that the woman had a mental problem.
Sounds about right.
In a world that's gone mad, it's sanity looks crazy. Staff at the hospital judged that the woman had a mental problem, according to the Chinese site, and the police eventually intervened. Eventually being the key word there. Like
pile up
many
the crimes so that we can. Once we do apprehend you, we have all the reasons to lock you up.
Many of minorities have experienced, the cops take a little bit longer depending what part of town you live in. And so the robot, is very much a second-class citizen. Bystanders in the hospital lobby can be seen staring from a distance as the extraordinary occurrence takes place. In between strikes, the woman shouts at the machine while brandishing the plank of wood menacingly. Ooh, video The video was circulated on Chinese social media network Weibo before being posted to Twitter. The Twitter user suggested the woman in the video was a patient at the hospital who grew angry at the waiting times. Yeah, you and me both, sister. Because now in China's hospitals, make the doctor and all medical examination this is a quote. Because now in China's hospitals, make the doctor and all medical examination appointments are all done on the robots. Very few nurses left to help the patients. Many find it frustrating process. The robot is positioned in front of the hospital's reception desk, so it could have been the first port of call for new patients, although there are human staff sat behind the desk. So, yeah, we don't know why this robot exactly is here, because there's plenty of humans behind the desk, but okay. It's unclear if the woman who sports short cropped hair and a yellow jacket is still in police custody. But the event could symbolize a general sense of unease surrounding the reliance of technology on public-facing roles that used to be taken by humans. Okay, so they're getting into it. They're doing their own little Flippy update. China is a leader in workplace automation and is known to have replaced human workers with machines in fields such as manufacturing and hospitality. According to a 2016 report, more and more factories in China are using robots on the assembly lines to replace workers who demand high salaries. China's leading AI expert, Kai-Fu Lee, has previously predicted that technology will take over half of all jobs by the mid-2030s. Certain employment sectors are facing a crisis akin faced by farmers during the Industrial Revolution, he said. Unfortunately, history has shown that robots can backfire in the workplace, leading to gruesome injuries and fatalities.
As documented on Flippy Update for 6 years.
For years on this show. And then it goes into another thing here. There's a different story about robo accidents, but they are taking this opportunity. DailyMail.co.uk is taking this opportunity of a piece of violence on robots to then turn around and sort of justify the violence on the robots. They're like, yeah, this lady attacked this robot, but I mean, there's growing unease. The robots are going to take your jobs. A robot killed a child's finger. A robot
killed the finger. Yep.
Killed the finger. Killed this 49-year-old Chinese factory worker.
Yeah.
They start listing the crimes of the robots to stoke the violent resentments. And you may find it silly, but this is the same pattern that we've seen over and over and over to divide the public in different ways, which is always done in preparation for some sort of elite sociological change. It's, the social engineering.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Here's a fun fact real quick. The first person to be killed by a robot. So they go all the way back to the first person to be killed by a robot in response to this lady attacking. The first person to be killed by a robot was Robert Williams, an American factory worker in Flat Rock, Michigan, back in January 1979. Williams, 25, was killed instantly when he was struck in the head by an industrial robot arm designed to retrieve objects from storage shelves.
Actually, I think there was an episode where you missed, and there was like a little history on Flippy, and I think we talked about that.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. This is an interesting incident. Of course, it's always entertaining watching fights on the internet, especially between humans and robots. But I found in the grand scheme of the Flippy update, in the broad meta narrative that is how the elites are integrating robots into our lives for any number of reasons that they would want to do that, this is kind of the first incident used in a very blatant, very obvious drive to stoke violence, defend violence against robots, and then shortly after, stoke more reasons for resentment against robots, including going all the way back to the very first man killed.
Well, it makes sense because with a lot of these programs, you need funding, especially militarily, right? So you need the destruction of the robots at the hands of terrorists or whatever it may be, so that they can keep the money flowing to build more, better, faster, smarter, stronger robots.
Mm-hmm. Now they're going to need to teach the robots kung fu to defend themselves.
Yeah, the robot industrial complex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there you go, folks. The campaign has begun. First, they've been trying to get us to love the robots, to accept the robots into our lives, to get them closer to us and our children and our spouses. And now they're changing the storyline, and only violence can beget more violence.
Psyops.
There's a psyop. This is also a psyop.
Psyops.
All right. We're going to go down an interesting little rabbit trail here, and it has to do with fentanyl, surveillance, drugs, the cartel.
Oh boy.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
Put on some chapstick then.
Yeah, put on your chapstick and get ready. Politico here. This is a Biden story. So here we go.
Got hairy legs. Hairy. Got hairy legs. Hairy. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
Headline: Biden has a new pitch to re-up a controversial surveillance program, and Republicans might like it.
Ooh. So it's bad for everyone.
The administration hopes reluctant lawmakers will be receptive to the idea of surveilling drug lords to curb fentanyl overdoses. Yay, government's doing something about the fentanyl problem, huh?
The Biden, besides trafficking it into our country?
Hey, easy. Easy. The Biden administration is leaning into a politically potent issue: fentanyl trafficking from Mexico, to convince lawmakers to reauthorize a controversial George W. Bush-era surveillance program.
Which one? To pick a card. There's so many.
In public and in private, administration officials are stressing the need to track Mexican cartels and their Chinese suppliers in their push for Congress to re-up the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act's Section 702 before it expires at the end of the year. There you go. It's the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, Section 702. The statute, which allows intelligence agencies to read emails and other electronic communications of foreigners abroad, is facing bipartisan opposition from lawmakers who argue it has become a backdoor for the FBI to surveil Americans who are on the other end of the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, of course, left-leaning privacy advocates and GOP stalwarts, incensed by the FBI's handling of the investigation of Donald Trump, are arguing the statute can't be renewed without major changes that limit the surveillance of Americans. The cross-the-aisle consensus makes it highly unlikely Section 702 will be reauthorized as is, so the administration is making the strongest case it can to keep Congress from drastically curtailing its effectiveness. So, a little bit of a battle going on to keep this thing afloat, or maybe change, and sometimes change feels right at the time, but then you're like, oh boy, there's always some stuff in there that causes issues. Now, I don't want to get too far down this article because part of how to create change, you need the atmosphere, you need the climate, a social climate, a news cycle climate to convince people to go a certain direction. So, as this type of thing comes up, there needs to be a reason for the public to understand, like, oh, we need to go this way with the policy, or yeah, we do need to re-up it because of this or that. And I think that's maybe what's going on here. So this is CBS News. This is okay. I'm sorry. This is just in connection to the cartel and what we've seen some weird reporting about the cartel in recent months. This being one of them, back from March, Mexican drug cartel's purported apology letter for deadly kidnapping spurned by Americans as relatives. We were like, okay, yeah, all right. No TV show ever has the cartel giving a public apology without some kind of strings or deals or some kind of stuff going on in the background. So,
right. They wouldn't apologize. And now, of course, we know there's a long-standing and well-documented cozy relationship between U.S. Law enforcement, intelligence agencies, and the like with the cartels. I mean, they have a relationship. We know this for a fact.
Which is why the surveillance program is kind of ridiculous, because it's like, oh, don't you guys already communicate? I know it's not official, But
well,
you guys are
that's
all
exactly
up in
right.
each other's business already. So what is this all about? So
we know for a fact it's been revealed for at least the past couple administrations. The U.S. law enforcement and intelligence agencies have had a close relationship with the cartels. There's very specific and convenient reasons why this is. And exactly, when the Mexican drug cartels apologized for killing and kidnapping some Americans, because, and the story was like, oh, the guys who did it, they were lower level. They didn't know what they were doing. We didn't give them permission for this, because now even in Trump's era, there was talk of invading Mexico specifically to hunt down the cartels.
Right.
The Mexican government and the U.S. government have a deal where we can send our law enforcement in there. So it was a really, it was a big hullabaloo. But yeah, to get a public apology for kidnapping and killing some Americans, that their CIA handler had to be like, this is going to be a tough one to get out of there, Chapo.
Yeah.
But if we can start with an apology, that'll get you somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why Section 702 being renewed is not for cartel spying on cartels. It's for something else significantly more sinister.
Right. Yeah. And on top of it, it's kind of a win-win if they get to keep it, because then they still have the backdoor mechanisms to spy on American citizens, and they get to keep that, and they get to do whatever else they're going to do with it. So yes. And so, we're looking for somebody to fight for the cause of the people, and somebody is stepping up, and an unsuspecting governor.
It's Newsom science, baby! Ha!
Thank goodness the Lord has put somebody to do our favor, Basil. Governor Newsom, this is from California.gov. Governor Newsom launches new operation to improve public safety and target fentanyl trafficking rings in San Francisco. Thank the Lord somebody's doing something about this problem, huh? Appreciate Newsom getting involved. It says here, building on a new partnership with the city of San Francisco, today Governor Gavin Newsom authorized the assignment of California Highway Patrol and California National Guard personnel to a new multi-agency operation in the city. The governor and California Attorney General Rob Bonta also announced the California Department of Justice intends to provide legal expertise and assistance in prosecuting complex and multi-jurisdictional cases related to the operation. The joint operation will serve as a collaborative effort between multiple agencies, including CADOJ, CHP, CalGuard, and San Francisco Police Department, and the San Francisco District Attorney's Office. The operation will focus on targeting fentanyl trafficking, disrupting the supply of the deadly drug in the city, and holding the operators of drug trafficking rings accountable. I wonder if that includes California Police Union Director.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Because CNN, of course, just a few weeks ago, reported a California Police Union Director is being charged with importing opioids, including fentanyl, disguised as chocolate and wedding favors.
Yeah, the lady. She was running the fentanyl ring, and she was the head of the police union. And I think this was in San Francisco as well. I think that's
so.
Where she was based.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the law enforcement professionals who are now being drafted into this new war on drugs by Gavin Newsom are the exact same people who are responsible for getting the fentanyl into San Francisco in the first place. This makes it so much more suspicious that Governor Gavin Newsom is starting this big thing as like a smokescreen so he can import more fentanyl. I mean, doesn't it not feel that way? It's so weird.
It does feel that way. Yeah, it's almost like, and in connection with the Biden story we started with, the surveillance program. Yeah, it's kind of like, we'll put this thing in place, which means the public will believe that there is more trust in the system, that, hey, we're watching over this issue. But in reality, Newsom's making a new deal. He's like, hey, give me that account. I'll take that account.
A literal replay of the crack epidemic.
Yeah.
You know, they're just doing this. The government was responsible for the crack epidemic, and Governor Gavin Newsom, who's, part of the Pelosi dynasty, is like, hey, it worked for them. Let's give it a try. We got to pay for my 2028 presidential election somehow.
Yeah, and of course, the CNN article mentions Joanne Marianne Segovia, 64, who ordered thousands of synthetic opioids during Valiryl fentanyl that were disguised as chocolates, wedding favors, and makeup, according to the criminal complaint filed Monday. So she was
it's so white. It's such a
also a woman. So Gavin,
women rule.
But taking their jobs, you're taking jobs away from women.
By the way, if you're just listening to the podcast, you're not watching. This woman looks like your mom. This is your mom. Just your mom was the biggest fentanyl dealer in California.
Yeah, like Trump's sister or something was. Yeah. Okay, so continuing on this trail of the fentanyl, Los Angeles Times just published this article. El Chapo sons send Mexico cartels cheap fentanyl into U.S., indictment says. And I'll just read a couple sentences here. With Sinaloa cartel boss Joaquin El Chapo Guzman serving a life sentence, his sons steered the family business into fentanyl, establishing a network of labs churning out massive quantities of the cheap, deadly drug that they smuggled into the U.S., prosecutors revealed in a recent indictment. Now, I find it interesting that this LA Times article, I don't believe, mentioned the lady who was doing the trafficking on the American side of the border. So it's kind of interesting to have an article where it talks about, the cartel side and, what happened there and how they got steered to fentanyl. But then, the media is painting for us, if we're kind of paying attention, the full picture here. And there's a part here. Guzman Salazar indictment makes an initial attempt at disrupting the cartel supply chain, naming 4 people tied to a China-based chemical company and a broker in Guatemala who allegedly helped the cartel get the chemicals and even instructed them on the best recipe for fentanyl. So China, of course, we've known the China involvement with this issue, but there you go. They're trying to get out of it a little bit too by blaming China. And so there is another part of this where the takedown or sort of the cleanup job of this, with Newsom's making it look like a cleanup job, could be all part of the war with China. Hey, we're rounding up all China-based stuff here. We got to restructure all of it because we're divorcing China. So anything public or private when it comes to Chinese dealings, it's got to go down. And so maybe that's part of this whole thing happening with fentanyl and the cartels and all this drama here.
Yeah, that is an interesting aspect of it, is that it does all go back to China.
Yeah. And again, to create the threat, Cleveland, Texas, shooting suspect remains at large. $80,000 reward offered for illegal immigrant turned fugitive. We need the surveillance.
Horrible story,
but we need the government surveillance because we got to keep track of people like this. It's a problem, right?
Yeah, the timing is incredible. The fact that this guy, do you want to read it?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A Mexican national reported to be an illegal immigrant wanted for the Texas shooting of 5 neighbors, including a young boy, remained at large Monday morning, more than 48 hours after the massacre in Cleveland, Texas, outside Houston. Authorities are offering an $80,000 reward for information that leads to the capture of Francisco Oropesa. Neighbors had allegedly asked Oropesa to stop firing his rifle in his yard late Friday so that a baby could sleep. The 38-year-old suspect, who authorities identified from video at the scene and by a Mexican consulate card, then entered the neighboring home and opened fire on 5 of the 10 people inside, allegedly killing the victims execution style. FBI Houston, which has taken over updates from the San Jacinto County Sheriff's Office, said Sunday evening that more than 250 law enforcement officers from over a dozen agencies were actively searching for Oropesa. That's a lot. There's a lot of people looking for this guy. And that's a little scary. A little scary to have a dude on the loose like this.
Yeah. And, we've seen shootings and horrendous things just the timing of them in compared to, different bills being brought, different policies being introduced, things like this, be almost suspiciously convenient. And right now in Biden's, new pitch to extend one of the most, privacy eliminating policies in United States history, which was due to just be up. Like it was just going to go away.
Yes.
It was just
no
the
longer
time
in the
was
crisis.
up.
Yep.
And
but no.
just in time for them to want to renew it, you have this Mexican illegal immigrant committing this horrendous crime for seemingly no reason at all.
Well, I think there might have been something in here about connections to some other illegal immigrants or something along those lines.
Well, the shooting was for no reason at all. He was just out there shooting a rifle in his lawn, and they go out and ask him not to do that because the baby was sleeping, and he just went nuts, just went in the house, and it was like a family reunion or something, and just went on a spree. But just in time for the renewal of a policy that nobody wants and really doesn't do anything specifically for cartels. We don't need a policy that allows the government to spy on anybody they want just so they could spy on cartels. This is not how it works. So, it's really, it's a horrific incident on its own merits.
Yeah.
But when you consider that the suspicious timing and the benefits that the administration gets for the timing of this shooting makes it even that much more dark.
Yeah, because I guess the sensationalism, we've had a lot of shootings this year, mass shootings, and especially reported. And so the one that's going to stick out and grab everyone's attention is the one where there's a shooting and then the guy doesn't get taken down. He's still out there. That scare is, the
right.
fear.
He's out there
community.
Right now. Yeah. He could be anywhere. Yeah. The fact that he's not, wasn't taken down or didn't shoot himself or didn't get arrested, and he's out there right now. So we need to renew Section 702.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. So
on the topic of gun control, there was some moves going on in New York here.
Gun violence is an epidemic.
Again, really good timing. ABC News, 3,000 guns surrendered in New York in exchange for gift cards.
Oh, yay.
Okay. There's a gun buyback thing here. Thousands of guns, including numerous assault-style rifles and ghost guns, were surrendered in a single day over the weekend across the state of New York in exchange for gift cards, according to the state attorney general. Describing it as a landmark event, New York State Attorney General Letitia James, whose office hosted and coordinated Saturday's program, said more than 3,000 guns were surrendered at 9 buyback locations throughout the state, including 2 in New York City. In Syracuse, New York, where police crime statistics show a 133% jump in homicides in the first 4 months of this year compared to the same time frame last year, 751 firearms were turned over by community residents. Quote, gun violence has caused so many avoidable tragedies and robbed us of so many innocent New Yorkers, James said in a statement, quote, every gun that we remove out of Syracuse homes and off the streets is a potential tragedy averted, and another step in protecting communities throughout New York State. The buyback program came just days after Syracuse Mayor Ben Walsh said at a news conference that the ongoing proliferation of guns in his community is contributing to a rise in the city's violent crime rate in the first quarter of the year. It's an interesting detail. It's contributing. I mean,
it's not the cause.
We're still gonna have a whole bunch of violent crime, but this was a part of it. Quote, there are too many dang guns in this country. They're everywhere. And we have too many states that are abdicating their responsibility to ensure guns are being sold safely, Walsh said at the news conference. Quote, and our federal government is abdicating their responsibility to ensure guns are being handled safely. blah, blah, blah.
The government is going to handle it safely. By the way, what happens to those guns? Does it say here?
They arm ISIS. In comparison to the weekend's gun buyback program, Syracuse police officers have seized and removed 76 guns from the community this year, compared to 55 at the same point last year. That's a very small amount. Walsh said. He said 90% of the guns seized by police are from out of state. Okay. Ooh. Officials said 90 guns were surrendered in the first 3 hours of the buyback program at the All Saints Catholic Church in Brooklyn, New York. Quote, "There's a lot of firepower on this table," said Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez, standing beside a table full of firearms turned over Saturday at the All Saints Church. Quote, "And each and every one of these guns is a potential life saved and a non-fatal shooting avoided."
And another opportunity for whatever gang or government institution that wields it to kill innocent citizens. So there's also that. There's a circular thing going on. How much do they get?
Here's the reward here. In exchange for firearms with no questions asked, participants were given $500 gift cards for turning in assault-type style rifles and untraceable ghost guns.
Okay.
People turning over handguns also received $500 gift cards for the first weapon surrendered and $150 gift cards for each additional handgun. Those surrendering other types of rifles and shotguns received $75 gift cards. Really? What is the deal with that?
Hey,
the
keep
shotgun
going.
only gets $75. And $25 cards were given out for each non-working replica, antique, or 3D printed gun.
Okay. How many
Look,
of these
This is a great business model.
How many of these guns fall under these
antiques.
categories? And how the 3,000, right? And they're talking about 50 here, 90 here. That leaves a lot to the replica, antique, 3D printed.
Bro, it was $500 for a ghost gun.
Yeah.
Like, what's a better business model than just building ghost guns just for the reason to sell to the government?
What are the margins?
Get your
how much
3D
is a kit? Yeah, how much is a...
Get your 3D printer going, have that sucker cranking out some ghost guns all week, and then you can go and sell them to the government. Yeah, I would love to know how many people did that.
Well, the scary thing will be, what is the equivalent of Pfizer going to be, or Moderna going to be in the future of the ghost gun, big ghost gun, or big gun industry?
What? What does Pfizer and Moderna have to do with the ghost guns?
Maybe not ghost guns, but I'm saying,
I missed something.
The operation working in tandem with government as sort of a way to control a technology, as guns become ubiquitous and easily accessible, you can 3D print them or whatever.
Right.
You're going to it's going to create these industries where people, that's what they do. They make the guns. And so, somebody's going to get paid a lot of money to 3D print a bunch of guns and
gift cards.
Yeah, gift cards.
I want to know what these gift cards, what?
To
is
what?
it like Walmart, Target?
Yeah, what gift cards to what? What they don't specify.
In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, I don't know.
Apple. Maybe it's iTunes. It's iTunes gift cards. You know what's so funny? Do you know who else focuses on exchanging money with gift cards?
Who's that?
Scammers.
Oh, that's true.
Scammers on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
The help me, please. I love you. Please help me. Send me a gift card, an Apple gift card for $100, and I'll be able to, get to wherever. That type
like
of
an
thing.
Amazon gift card or something. Yeah.
The romance scams, stuff like that. It's all done through gift cards. So it's a little ironic that the government buyback program is focusing on.
Yeah, this sounds more like
cards.
some of these government officials laundering their own weapons or the weapons from their own community. It's like, look, you guys, you can't be bringing in all these guns from out of state. Let's just look, we'll give it back to you, but we just have to have this thing.
$500. $500.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
you start printing out some 3D printed ghost guns, bring it in, $500 a piece. That's you can buy a lot of apps or singles, Britney Spears singles on iTunes with a $500 gift card.
Sure. All right. Well, there you go. Got a Speakpipe here.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
You go to canarycrynewsstock.com, look for a green tab on the right side or the bottom, and it will pop up a little window that allows you to record an audio message of up to 90 seconds. Send it to us. We might play it. We got one here from Luke, and I believe this is Ezra.
What'd you say? Are you excited for Age of Deceit 4? Gons is making Age of Deceit 4. What do you think? You didn't know that?
I know.
You've seen all the other ones, though, right? What is your name?
No.
Ezra. Yeah, you forgot that? You don't even know?
I don't know.
Are you excited for Canary Cry News Talk tomorrow?
Okay.
You excited to hear Gons and Basil?
No,
Will you have anything to say?
yeah.
Do you still think Basil is kind of weird? You think his dad is a Nephilim?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Where is this interview going? Quit interrogating Ezra.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Luke.
Thank
so
you, Luke.
Cute.
Yeah,
My goodness.
Yeah. Must be similar to the age where my little son is at, because he's at that age where he's starting to talk, but the words aren't fully there yet. So he has full sentences. He's saying something, but it's just not really coming out clear. It's super cute. I love it. I love the phase.
Right.
It only lasts for but a short while, and then it's all
But a moment. Well, that's good. Getting them started on Age of Deceit and Canary Cry early.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. You love to see it.
Yep. We also had one from Joseph A., a Speakpipe. I think this was a private message to us, but it also sounded like something that could go public. But I don't know, Basil. What did you think? I do want to acknowledge that we received it. We don't necessarily have to.
Yeah. Let's just acknowledge it. Okay. I do want to say, just because the content of it is,
it's a personal thing.
Might be tipped off for somebody.
Yeah.
Had a comment about getting charged for the supply drop. I will say, answer to anybody wondering this: if your payment to the supply drop, if there's a problem with it and it doesn't go through the first time, it'll just automatically try a couple days later. So no worries. If something happens, it doesn't go through on the regular day, it'll automatically try again in a couple days. But thank you very much for your concern.
Yep. Thank you.
Let's see here. By the way, if you're here now, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for us. We're about halfway through the show, and it's super helpful for us if we get some thumbs up. Those algos get going. It shows it to more people, and they can tune in live. It's always fun for people to find the show for the first time while we're live. And hitting the thumbs up button, whether you're on YouTube or Rumble or whatever, is super helpful for that. So thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any more speak pipes?
That's it.
Okay. I want to thank a couple producers.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, these are producers who got value from the show and understand that they don't want corporations being the ones deciding what shows live or die, and so kind of taking their media future into their own hand. It's called the value for value model. They get value from the show, so they put value back in, and that's the only way that we continue. We don't, ask for donations and then also give you advertisements or sell your data or something like some shows renting out. Do you see the Daily Wire got busted again for renting out their email list to Ron DeSantis?
Oh,
yeah, it was this whole thing.
Dirty.
Keep that in mind, folks. Not only, do we not do advertisements, but there's other media properties out there where if you join their newsletter or something, they'll rent it out to politicians.
Everybody loves waffles.
Try to take more of your money.
Everybody loves waffles.
They got busted again. So
DeSantis fell for the spell, the waffle spell.
Apparently.
He started talking really fast, and he just said, "Okay, yeah, sign."
I do
Let's
love
take
waffles.
your data.
I will rant. I will rent your email list. Yeah, but these are producers who come in. They support the show. You can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. You know, it's not all about money. There's lots of ways to get involved. But these people came in. They went to canarycry.support and made it happen. They thought to themselves, what kind of value does this show bring to my life? They put a number on it, you know, and that's the thing. It's, you know, it's kind of like the widow and the penny, the widow's penny. It's not so much about what the number is or how big or how small or whatever. Every single person who produces the show sends in their finances or participates in one of our other programs. That is somebody saying, hey, what you do is valuable and I want it to keep going. So it's all very heartwarming. Yep. We already thanked our executive producers at the top of the show. Thank you very much to Sir Marty Kane, Out of the Wrong Timeline, Isaac G, soon to be Sir Ike, and Bush Protector. And here's a few more people who came in.
Okay.
Starting with, who do we got? Oh, Lady Night Little Wing.
Lady Night Little Wing, thank you very much.
Yeah, Lady Night Little Wing came in just in time for the show on Friday for the CCR episode and sent a little note here. It says, Happy Friday, gentlemen. Thinking about another Nevada skate meetup. Oh. My family lives in Carson City. XO, Lady Night Little Wing. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's going to be that time of year, folks. Time to do some skating. Got to go keep your eye on the Church of Skating and just go skate around in circles for a while. Keep us posted on that, Lady Night Little Wing. Yeah. And hope you're doing well.
Howdy, partner.
Do you even dead?
And next up, we've got producer Jason B coming in.
Thank you, Jason B.
Yeah, nice round number. No note. Thank you very much, Jason B.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we have producer Mary H.
Mary H. Thank you, Mary.
Mary H. comes in for 3333. Yeah, thank you very much. Next up, we've got producer Julie S.
Julie S. Thank you.
Yeah, Julie S. came in for last Friday's show. Nice round number. Thank you, Julie S.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got producer Jacob B. He's on a 10-episode streak.
Thank you, Jacob B.
He sent a note here. It's a quote, 66 books by 40 authors, and yet we now discover that it's an integrated message system from outside our time domain. Remembering Dr. Chuck Missler today, what a blessing he was to so many of us. Yeah, amen.
You and I live in an age of deceit.
Yep, that's Chuck Missler right there.
Was that Chuck Missler? There you go. Yep. Look at that. Thank you very much, Jacob B.
Yep, appreciate it.
Next up, we have Morgan E., who's come in a couple times, came in for last Friday, came in here, 23 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Morgan E.
Thank you very much, Morgan E. I did not see a note or anything for that, but appreciate it. Next up, we got Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots, 1111, and 223 episodes in a row.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
1111.
I know we have a 322 backwards.
We know we got a 322 backwards jingle.
I just don't know if I still have it. Let me check.
Oh, I thought you had it. I'll keep singing. 322 jingle is 223 backwards, and we made a jingle. Somebody did it for us, and we play that jingle when someone produces the show for 223 episodes in a row. It's a really good jingle, and you're gonna hear it, and you'll be like, man, that's a really good jingle. The time it took to find it was totally worth it.
It was, but it's not going to happen.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I cannot find it.
We'll play it for you next time, Sir Moore. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda.
Hey, Sir Darren.
Full of sevens.
Thank you. Oh, did I give him the 1111 at the very least?
You did, but you could do it again.
1111.
More. Sorry about that. We'll figure it out.
Next up, Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda.
Yeah, Sir Darren, yes.
Pocket full of sevens.
Yep.
And a note here that says, for Canary Cry Radio, episode 158. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Support the last radio episode. Next, we got Sir Alex Protocol V2, Night of the Berean Protocol. Pocket full of sevens and fees for Friday's episode and today. 165 episodes in a row.
Thank Thank you, Sir LX Protocol.
Yes. Oh, and you know what? We got a streak starting right now. That is producer James M.
Hey, James M.
There
Baby
you go.
streak.
2 episodes in a row, James. Good job. Came in with a pocket full of 7s. This is how it starts.
With 1. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, and as far as I can tell today, that is the conclusion of our list of financial producers who came in the amount of $7.77 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We got a few people coming in under that amount, and we'll thank them right now. Okay. We are starting with Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 291 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
We got Dame Gale, Canary, Whisperer, Ladies, X's and O's. Came in twice. Well, all these streakers came in for last episode as well. Okay. 253 in a row.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
Got Veronica D, 253.
Thank you, Veronica D.
Got Doctor Who Done That, 52.
Thank you, Doctor Who Done That.
Got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, 280 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Women rule.
That's right. Thank you to all of our financial producers. Again, the financial part of it is incredible. It allows us to continue doing this work in the frequency and quality that we do it now. We could not do it without you. Again, thank you to our monthly producers, whether you're Supply Drop or T-Shirt Council. And what was I going to say? Oh, thank you for your patronage. We do have a knighthood also.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Go to canarycry.support.
Canarycry.support. And take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
All right.
Real quick. MSDS in the chat. Is saying they came in with a pocket full of 7s on Friday. I don't know. MSDS is not a number I would be able to look up, but let's give them some credit. Producer MSDS, pocket full of 7s on Friday.
Thank you. Is it MSDS or DS?
DS.
Okay,
that's the
letters.
The name. Yeah. So I will go back and look through. We can put it on a list. Didn't want to miss anybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, let's do a knighthood, baby.
All right.
It's time to knight Mr. Isaac G. For those who don't know, it's the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. It's a very special honor, an honorable place at the round table for those who produce the show in the amount of $1,000 or more. It could be all at once or over periods of time, long time. People, produce for years to make it to the round table, and we're so very grateful. We're so grateful, in fact, that we make a big deal about it because it truly is impressive and heartwarming that somebody would find so much value in the show that they put that much value back in. And this is the elites. They're the elites, man. They make this show run. We appreciate it. If you want to check out canarycrynewstalk.com/roundtable, you can see a big old list of all of our Canary Cry Roundtable Knights and Dames. And today we've got Isaac G. Finally, I'm going to get to say Sir Isaac G. Because he deserves it. He deserves it for so many reasons, but he's done the thing, and we appreciate that very much. Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, here's my katana. Ooh, it's nice and sharp. It's
okay.
It's been a while, but yeah,
I'll use the sharp one today too.
All right, here we go.
We want to call up Isaac G. Please step forward to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have a seat for you. Thanks to your generous support of the amount of $1,000 or more, we are proud to pronounce you Sir Ike, the tinfoil hat man, 6-string strummer of the East Ozark Highlands and keeper of the honking cobra chicken. Please join us at the Canary Cry Roundtable, where we have the belt of truthful truthiness, the breastplate of righteousness, custom-fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the spirit, and, of course, adorable samurai babies, infinitely cute cuddly kitties for cuddling. And if you're hungry, we have fancy feast, wet food, carved gospel, the CRISPR cow, and, of course, fried wormicorns. Welcome to the Canary Cry roundtable of knights and dames, Sir Ike, the tinfoil hat man, six-string strummer of the East Ozark Highlands and keeper of the honking Cobra Chicken. Woo! And the crowd goes wild. Thank you very much, Sir Isaac. Finally. I really appreciate that. And just so everybody knows, we can brag about Sir Isaac a little bit here, of course. We've mentioned it before. He's the man who's does so much production for us, so much work with the Canary Cry Supply Drop, the T-Shirt Council. There was a little bit of a whoopsies with the T-Shirt Council. For those who are on the T-Shirt Council, you got an emergency email from me because it was 100% my fault because I don't know how spreadsheets work. And we are fixing the problem. And Sir Isaac is our triage expert, making sure that everything gets straightened out. So we are honored and excited to have Sir Isaac at the roundtable. And he sent a very nice message that warmed my heart. It was just for us. And the feeling is mutual, Sir Isaac. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Sir Isaac, and congratulations.
Indeed.
Sir Ike. We can call you Sir Ike now.
Yeah, Sir Ike. I didn't know. See, that's what happens when you gain the next level of honor. Your name must change as well. It didn't occur to me that Ike was Isaac, was short for Isaac, but it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think? Should we get back to the show?
Let's do it. Let's talk Epstein.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh, yeah. The thread keeps unraveling.
It's nice to see.
You want to take this one?
Oh, sure. Yeah, give me just 1 second to scroll because we work
humongous face.
Work off of a... What? What are you saying?
I'm saying there's a humongous picture of Epstein at the top. There's some individuals on either side, and we'll learn about who those individuals are.
Yeah, let's do it. It's coming from the Wall Street Journal. The headline, Epstein's private calendar reveals prominent names, including CIA chief, Goldman's top lawyer.
The CIA doesn't still have operations with pedophile networks, do they?
We don't do that now, though. We don't mess around other people's elections, Jim.
It's supposed to have just a nom-nom part. There we go.
Man, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
By the way, it's the current CIA chief.
Yeah, I know.
Just in case anybody's wondering, like, oh, maybe an ex-CIA chief, maybe an ousted CIA chief, maybe like a Trump. No, the current CIA chief.
The storm's coming. It's here, Basil.
Met with Jeffrey Epstein after he had been convicted of his first pedophile conviction in 2015.
That was just one.
The nation's spy chief. This makes me wonder how, like, what is the play going on right now? Now, we've been tracking sort of the deconstruction of the old guard to bring on the new world order 2.0 and all this kind of stuff. So this is all wrapped up in there. But you gotta be pretty amazed that, you know, the CIA chief let the Wall Street Journal post or an
something
article
is going on.
Something is definitely going on. There's a bigger plan at work here for sure.
Yeah.
The nation's spy chief, a longtime college president, and top women in finance. That's a word, a sentence. That's the sentence that begins this article. The nation's spy chief, a longtime college president, and top women in finance. Period. The circle of people who associated with Jeffrey Epstein years after he was convicted sex offender is wider than previously reported, according to a trove of documents that include his schedules. William Burns, director of the Central Intelligence Agency since 2021, had 3 meetings scheduled with Epstein in 2014, when he was Deputy Secretary of State, the documents show. They first met in Washington, and when Mr. Burns visited Epstein's townhouse in Manhattan. Catherine Rumler, a White House counsel under President Barack Obama, had dozens of meetings with Epstein in the years after her White House service and before she became a top lawyer at Goldman Sachs Group Incorporated in 2020.
Always bankers involved. Huh? Interesting.
Yeah, JP Morgan is taking the fall for Epstein, now Goldman Sachs. He also planned for her to join a 2015 trip to Paris and a 2017 visit to Epstein's private island in the Caribbean.
Wow.
Leon Botstein, the president of Bard College, invited Epstein, who brought a group of young female guests to the campus. Noam Chomsky, a professor, author, and political activist, was scheduled to fly with Epstein to have dinner at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse in 2015.
Yikes.
None of their names appear in Epstein's now public Black Book of Contacts or in the public flight logs of passengers who traveled on his private jet. The documents show that Epstein arranged multiple meetings with each of them after he had served jail time in 2008 for a sex crime involving a teenage girl and was registered as a sex offender. The documents, which include thousands of pages of emails and schedules from 2013 to 2017, haven't been previously reported. The documents don't reveal the purpose of most of the meetings. The Wall Street Journal couldn't verify whether scheduled meetings took place. Most of the people told the Journal they visited Epstein for reasons related to his wealth and connections. Yeah, that is the whole thing. Several said they thought he had served his time and had rehabilitated himself. Mr. Botstein said he was trying to get Epstein to donate to his school. Mr. Chomsky said he and Epstein discussed political and academic topics. Mr. Burns met with Epstein about a decade ago as he was preparing to leave government service, said CIA spokeswoman Tammy Cooperman Thorpe. Quote, the director did not know anything about him other than that he was introduced as an expert in financial services sector and offered general advice on transition to the private sector, she said. They had no relationship. So the director of the CIA didn't think to Google the name of the person that he was going to get financial advice from.
Well, to his defense here, wasn't this before a Pizzagate and all that? Well, I guess it's during.
I mean, 2008 is when he got convicted. He was a registered sex offender. Yeah. So look, even if he didn't know, maybe he just literally took a meeting, didn't even bother to ask who, didn't bother to Google. I mean, if Epstein is giving him advice on how to transition out of government life into private sector career, like, hello,
here's how you fake your own death.
You're not going to take the advice that big from somebody you don't know who it is.
Watch me do it.
Yeah. Right. How do you get out of government life? You fake your own death.
Yep.
And here's the thing. Even if he didn't actually know, like if he's telling the truth, he's the head of our CIA.
It's the common sort of duality, the two possibilities. You're either egregiously evil or you are egregiously incompetent, right? There's no in between here. You're either very, very malleable or you're evil. You just know the stuff and you're like, no one's going to find out,
You're evil or you're stupid. You get to take the pick.
Yeah, well, stupid
Ms. Rumler had a professional relationship with Epstein in connection with her role at law firm Latham & Watkins, LLP, and didn't travel with him. A Goldman Sachs spokesman said Epstein introduced her to potential legal clients. Oh, yeah. I bet Epstein had plenty of potential legal clients. Such as Microsoft Corporation co-founder Bill Gates.
Vaccines, climate change.
That guy.
Another connection with Epstein. He has multiple separate, confirmed connections with Bill Gates. The spokesman said, I regret ever knowing Jeffrey Epstein, Ms. Rumler said. Yeah, I bet you do. That is how that works. When you hang out with evil pedophiles, you regret it. You didn't even really have to say it out loud. A spokeswoman for Latham & Watkins said Epstein wasn't a client of the firm. In 2006, Epstein was publicly accused of sexually abusing girls in Florida. We know this story. It was kind of when Epstein first got on the radar of the people who were paying attention. Now, keep in mind, we really didn't even hear about Epstein until 2015. And it was years and years and years before that all this was going on. This is a long-term thing. I've had conversations with people regarding Epstein, and it doesn't occur to them that it's been going on forever. They're like,
right.
oh,
they think
he
it's
did
just a recent.
Yeah, that's just like a recent thing. Just because they're just hearing about it, they think it's like, oh, he made some bad decisions recently. It's like, no, this was his entire life. Epstein's case generated waves of media coverage at the time, with publications in the U.S. and abroad reporting on accusations from underage girls and young women. In 2006, several politicians returned donations from Epstein. Some associates moved to distance themselves from him. His biggest known client, retail billionaire Leslie Wexner, said he cut ties in 2007. His bank, J.P. Morgan Chase & Co., later said it closed his accounts in 2013, though some bankers continued to meet with him for years after. Whoopsies. Then it gives the 2015 Virginia Giuffre situation. So kind of interesting how the Wall Street Journal they're being so specific as to not give any of these people kind of the easy out that you would be used to with the CIA director, being very specific about the timeline and how, hey, nobody could have not known because it was on the front page of all these magazines and newspapers. To not know about Epstein is almost worse than knowing and still meeting with him.
It does go into a little
anything?
bit. Yeah, it goes into a little bit more of the detail of the actual exchange with Mr. Burns, 67 years old, career diplomat, former ambassador to Russia.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that part.
Yep.
That's part of why he is CIA director right now, is because he was ambassador to Russia for so long.
Had meetings with Epstein in 2014 when Mr. Burns was Deputy Secretary of State. A lunch was planned that August at the office of law firm Steptoe & Johnson in Washington. Epstein scheduled 2 evening appointments that September with Mr. Burns at his townhouse, the documents show. After one of the scheduled meetings, Epstein planned for his driver to take Mr. Burns to the airport. Mr. Burns recalls being introduced in Washington by a mutual friend, the Lizard Man, and meeting Epstein once briefly in New York, said Ms. Thorpe. Quote, the director does not recall any further contact, including receiving a ride to the airport, she said. Following month, October 2014, Mr. Burns stepped down from his role at the State Department to serve as president of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace.
I bet you
think
did.
Tank. Yeah, he did. Yep. How does that happen? He has a meeting with Epstein that he can't remember, and all of a sudden he gets to step into bigger roles. He ran the Carnegie Endowment. 1 month
after, he gets a cushy job at a think tank.
Oh, it was just right up the ladder there. He ran the Carnegie Endowment until he was nominated in early 2021 by President Biden to serve as CIA director. Documents show that Epstein appeared to know some of his guests well. He asked for avocado sushi rolls to be on hand when meeting with Miss Rumler. Oh, it goes into the Rumler thing. But there you go.
Well, no, this was actually a really interesting part of it.
Okay.
Because in this calendar, in the schedule, it shows that he knew things about the people.
Yes.
And would he would know really personal things about them. Make sure to have their favorite sparkling water. Make sure to have their favorite sushi there when they met. Make sure to so it's really the whole operation. Interesting about Ms. Rumler first met Epstein after he called her to ask if she would be interested in representing Mr. Gates and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Goldman Sachs spokesman said. That's what an interesting call. You're going to get a call from a known convicted pedophile sex offender, but he's going to hook you up with Bill Gates. So what do? Do you take the call? Do you not take the call? You got your favorite sushi? Yeah, might as well.
Didn't take much, apparently. Again, evil or incompetent. There's no in between right here.
There's no excuse.
Yeah, man.
Well, at least she's not running the CIA. So this stuff keeps dropping. I mean, it just keeps moving, keeps dropping. And what's interesting throughout it all is, it was always the hope, always the prayer that anyone involved with Epstein would come to justice or have a reckoning either publicly or legally, or and on top of the individuals, coming to justice, that the system, I mean, that was always the biggest part of it for me that didn't quite get the attention it deserved oftentimes, as much about how evil Epstein was and how evil the elites are, but really one of the biggest villains in the story is the system that makes this possible.
Yeah.
And not just make it possible, but incentivize it to get people to make choices that they know is a bad idea.
But it benefits them. They might.
But the system, is set up as such that, hey, he might be a pedophile sex offender, but he knows rich people, and I need to know rich people.
The dog world, man. Just got to step on the little people if you want to get ahead in life. There's a part in here. Epstein also connected Miss Rumler with Ariane de Rothschild, who is now chief executive of the Swiss private bank Edmund de Rothschild Group. The bank hired Miss Rumler's law firm, Latham and Watkins, after the introduction to help with U.S. regulatory matters, according to the bank and the Goldman spokesman. Mr. Rothschild, who married into the famous banking family, had more than a dozen meetings with Epstein. He sought her help with staffing and furnishing, as well as discussed business deals with her, according to the documents.
Yes.
And it goes on. So, no surprises. All the familiar names and players and whatnot. But, it does appear to be the very apocalypse that perhaps Manly P. Hall in the 90s talked about. The Freemasons are going to expose the corruption like they have all throughout the centuries. And the Prince of Peace will come and all this kind of stuff. And it does set up all of this. I think if we're just talking about American politics specifically here, because it is sort of the American empire that's being exposed in terms of the highest levels with banking and all this, it does feel like, first off, that we're sort of losing power again to the UK or like the European system in certain ways, but also it does set up a Trump. What was his whole agenda to I know he called it drain the swamp, but there was like a specific name to fire everybody and retool the government, altogether.
Oh, you're talking about his plan. He had his sort of secret plan.
Sure, I guess. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, where they were doing that recently. That's supposed to be like, the thing in 2024, right?
Right.
I forget what it's called.
So this sets up all that, does it not? To have all these people currently in positions of authority that have publicly documented relationships with one of the most famous, intel sort of operatives out there in Epstein.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's... I can't help but think about it in the Great Reset context, where we've over and over and over seen, the desire to burn it all down. Similar, I think, in an interesting way. Maybe it's sort of a spiritual way or something, but similar to how many Trump voters in 2016 really, at the core, just wanted to burn the whole thing down, whether he was a good president or not. The system wasn't working, and they'd rather watch it burn than deal with another, with Hillary. And it's sort of in the same spirit of that, this systematic burning of a humongous list of this of the elites of our day in every industry.
Yeah.
Now, it's both interesting and entirely predictable that this is happening for one specific reason, which is the whole point of Epstein. Epstein's entire job was to put the blackmail operation. Mm-hmm. It was to gather intel to put at risk the names, careers, and reputations of powerful people so that they could be manipulated for fear of being exposed.
Become
right.
Puppets. Yeah.
Right. So in a way, even after his death, and this is a good thing to remember too, that Epstein was he wasn't just doing this because he thought it would be fun. He was part of an operation.
Yeah. A lot of Mossad connections
that went
there.
all the way to the top. There's a lot of Mossad talk, a lot of talk with the whole sort of shadowy intelligence industry apparatus in general. So you got to remember, we can talk about Epstein being a demon all day long, but he had masters he was serving. He was serving, people who, probably the ones who saw him in his last night in there at the jail.
Remember the banker who came out and had a testimonial and said that he had to get out because not just the child sacrifices, but he was suggesting that some of the highest people are not human. Remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
It just reminded me of that kind of stuff where maybe Epstein, he was unafraid of that. He was more like, hey, I want to, how do I become you? How do I become the lizard man?
Sure. Perhaps. Yeah. But so that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
It's a systematic thing. Just because he's dead doesn't mean the trouble is over, and doesn't mean that the threat of those that he implicated is
only,
what's the word?
Brought to justice or any kind of,
neutralized. The threat to his blackmail list is not neutralized. In fact, we might right now be watching the operation to
the payoff of the buildup.
Exactly, payoff to the whole thing.
Yep.
And again, remember, he's a demon all the way down to the core, but it's really a reflection of the system that allowed and built the whole Epstein saga specifically for command and control of elite people all over the world. So we might now be watching the execution of a lot of that blackmail.
It makes sense because it, as much of a controlled apparatus it was to build in terms of blackmailing and all that. Yeah, the amount of information that was gathered through his operations, there's they've been sitting on a treasure trove of exposures.
Yeah.
And for them to start releasing names and people and organizations tied to it and just dropping things here and there, it does feel like the Epstein thing in general, not just from the beginning in terms of like him doing his whole operation, but really the teardown might have been even the greater arc or greater play that they knew all along that this guy was going to go down. He was going to be the scapegoat. And then we would have this sort of official teardown that we can control. We can control the process, and then we can install whatever we want,
and consider the timing. Consider the timing of the economy, the banks collapsing. We just had another bank collapse.
Yeah. The first American who, I think there was also another reverse. What's his name? Who's the guy who does all the stock stuff? You reverse his
Jim
Cramer.
Yeah,
the Cramer reversal, where if he says something is good, you take the opposite approach. You say buy, you sell. Yeah. So anyway, he was saying like 2 weeks ago, like First American, the great bank. Great bank.
Was he really? We got to start shorting these things when he says stuff.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. But yeah, the Epstein thing, I think this is going to continue. We always say this, but it's going to continue. And I'm just wondering when it really picks up steam, what's going to happen. And it does kind of feel like it's ramping up for the 2024 elections. As sort of
it's almost just like a consistent drip.
It has been, but there's going to be a flood moment, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I got a bathtub that's dripping, and I put a bucket under it, trying to save some water, It only took like a couple hours, and it drained 5 gallons of water. And it's kind of like with this, like you don't need to dump the 5 gallons all at once for it to be a problem, but you just get a little drip, and you could stretch out at the rate we've been seeing. It's a few people here, few people there, over and over, but it's so consistent that soon there will be no more elites to burn with the Epstein thing.
That's the other part of this psyop, is that it creates the public becomes your investigators, your researchers. You no longer have to employ people specifically. You have these public people sort of doing all the collection of information and presenting and repackaging. And, it's kind of interesting how the general public becomes radicalized into becoming intel operatives without even knowing it,
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay, let's see here. I guess, these were, okay. Let me talk to you about propaganda.
State-sponsored propaganda machinery.
Okay, here's an interesting one. Sorry, I'm talking and trying to put on chapstick at the same time. It's so unprofessional. This is coming from The Intercept. The Intercept. And this will, again, won't come to a surprise to anybody, but to have it recorded and in the public, is another point on the board for conspiracy theorists, and kind of an embarrassing situation that touches pretty much every section of current events: government, military, information war. The Intercept headline: Army Infowar Division wants social media surveillance to protect NATO brand.
Okay.
So I love how they got Infowar in there.
Yeah.
This is great. Just fun. And NATO brand. So the brand that is NATO. The U.S. Army Cyber Command. Man, they've been popping up a lot recently, haven't they? The U.S. Army Cyber Command told defense contractors it planned to surveil global social media use to defend the NATO brand, according to a 2022 webinar recording reviewed by The Intercept. That was another beautiful thing about COVID, was suddenly all these government meetings were being done on Zoom, like the easiest possible thing to hack. So, not just government stuff, but extremely important meetings all happening on Zoom, just open for the world to see.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's the Army Cyber Command Center's webinar.
Yeah.
Talking about the NATO brand. All right.
Yep. The disclosure, made a month after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, follows years of international debate over online free expression and the influence of governmental security agencies over the web. The Army's Cyber Command is tasked with both defending the country's military networks as well as offensive operations, including propaganda campaigns. Woo! The remarks came during a closed-door conference call hosted by the Cyber Fusion Innovation Center, a Pentagon-sponsored nonprofit that helps... Love it. Pentagon-sponsored nonprofit that helps with military...
It feels like the whole nonprofit apparatus is made just for Pentagon sponsorship operation.
Yeah. Pentagon-sponsored nonprofit that helps with military tech procurement and provided an informal question and answer session for private sector contractors interested in selling data to Army Cyber Command, commonly referred to as ARC Cyber.
AR Cyber. The pirates.
Cyber. Yeah. Though the office has many responsibilities, one of our cyber's key roles is to detect and thwart foreign influence operations.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Would we be considered by them foreign influence operations, depending on how they define foreign?
We're certainly being thwarted, so there's a chance. It depends how much water you carry for Putin. A military euphemism for propaganda. Yes. Okay. So let me start that over.
Yeah.
Though the office is kind of details you got to get. Though the office has many responsibilities, one of our cyber's key roles is to detect and thwart foreign influencer operations, a military euphemism for propaganda and deception campaigns, while engaging in the practice itself. Whee! The March 24th, 2022 webinar was organized to bring together vendors that might be able to help our cyber, quote, attack, defend, influence, and operate. In the words of co-host Lieutenant Colonel David Beskow of the Our Cyber Technical Warfare Center. While the event was light on specifics, the Our Cyber hosts emphasized that they were key to learn whatever the private sector thought was, quote, in the realm of possible. A recurring topic was how the Army can more quickly funnel vast volumes of social media posts from around the world for rapid analysis. At one point in the recording, a contractor who did not identify themselves asked our cyber if our cyber could share specific topics they plan to track across the web. Quote, NATO is one of our key brands that we are pushing as far as our national security alliance, Beskow explained. Quote, that's important to us. We should understand all conversations around NATO that has happened on social media.
We've been like the evil matrix spiders has stopped by our tweets, Basil, and have looked over the source of the information.
I want to understand all conversations around NATO that has happened on social media. This happened like a week after the war started, by the way.
Yeah,
the Ukraine
it wasn't
conflict.
so much the war in Ukraine that they were stoked about. It's the deploying all the surveillance spiders.
Yeah, they were ready.
Yep.
He added, quote, we would want to do that long term and understand how. What is the NATO, for lack of a better word?
What is the NATO? What are you talking about?
What is the NATO, for lack of a better word? What's the NATO brand? And how does the world view that brand across different places of the world?
It sounds like a marketing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Except for it's marketing for a gigantic globalist sort of unipolar cesspool of lizard people. Beskow said that ArcCyber wanted to track social media on various platforms used in places where the U.S. had an interest. Twitter is still of interest, Beskow told the webinar audience, adding that, quote, those that have other penetration are of interest as well. Those include VK, Telegram, Sina Weibo, and others that may have penetration in other parts of the world. No need to use that phrase twice. Referring to foreign-owned chat and social media sites popular in Russia and China, the Army did not respond to a request for comment. The mass social media surveillance appears to be just one component of a broader initiative to use private sector data mining to advance the Army's information warfare efforts. Beskow expressed an interest in purchasing access to non-public commercial web data, corporate ownership records, supply chain data, and more, according to a report on the call by the researcher Jack Paulson. Okay, so, this doesn't quite come as a surprise. However, the timing is what's interesting. Nobody thought, just like 2 weeks to slow the spread, 2 weeks to slow the spread, folks. We got this in 2 weeks. Everybody obey, and this will all be over. That's kind of how it was at the beginning of the Ukraine war, if you remember.
That's right. Yeah, just defend this area. We'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like they're coming in. The Russians coming in. All you got to do is just stop them real quick. This will be over in a couple months. Like, it was expected to be a very quick operation.
Yeah, I think you specifically identified the fact that it was going to be the new forever war. Although that may change as well with the China situation.
Yeah,
but
might transfer.
Nevertheless,
over to Taiwan.
it was a bridge. It was a bridge war.
Exactly.
Yeah, between Afghanistan and China.
That's how they get you. They tell you 2 weeks to slow the spread, and then 3 years down the line.
Right.
Now, the NATO brand, it says here, big quotes. Tracking a brand's reputation is an extremely common marketing practice. Maybe we should try that out sometime, Gons. But a crucial difference between a social media manager keeping tabs on Casper mattress mentions and ArcCyber is that the Army is authorized to, in Biscow's words, quote, influence, operate the network, and, when necessary, attack.
What?
And NATO is an entity subject to intense global civilian scrutiny and debate. So this is the crux of it. It's one thing to just like want, to know what people think of your brand. You go check it out, because if you have the data, then you can change your branding. You can work towards improving your forward-facing image or whatever. But the reason it's different is because ArcCyber, a piece of the Army, is mandated. Their whole job is to protect themselves at all costs. And it says right in their own words, they're not only to influence and operate the network, when necessary, attack. So when you have the Army doing market research, and if something is not going too well online, they have an obligation. It's in their duty to neutralize the threat.
It's possible that you and I, talking not so favorably about NATO in certain situations over the last year, tipped off some cyber crawler and then
some algorithm thing,
and we were attacked by our own Army. Is that what
it could literally be ArcCyber, the United States Army, taking action against
American citizens,
cyber threats.
Basil and Gandra, American podcasters.
Yeah, we got rights. While the webinar speakers didn't note whether bad-mouthing NATO or misrepresenting its positions would merely be monitored or actively countered, ArcCyber's umbrella includes 7 different units dedicated to offense and propaganda. Offense. The first Information Operations Command provides social media overwatch. The Army Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Command works to, quote, gain and maintain information dominance by conducting information warfare in the information environment, according to ArcCyber's website.
I like that. Information dominance.
Yep.
That phrase is a good one.
And it fits in so much. It's, information dominance is, 99% of scientists say that climate change, blah, 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 blah. Or the scientific consensus says wear a mask.
Right.
That is the manifestation of information dominance. Just because a piece of information is dominant
doesn't mean it's true.
It doesn't mean it's true, but that's what's being enforced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they have whole departments in the U.S. Army.
Our taxpayers. So we are the taxpayers are paying for our own speech to be curtailed and attacked by our own military, who we are paying with our tax dollars.
They're hurting themselves, really. The more that they, attack and dominate us, the less producer comes in, which means the less tax money they get. They're biting themselves.
Well, I think that's the idea. The whole thing is to collapse in on itself. That's
right.
The best way to take over a nation. It's not so much to invade it and take over. That's the old way of doing things. In the information war, it's better to just let them eat their own. So I think that's what we're doing to ourselves with this type of policy.
I'm gonna jump past this next paragraph. Mm-hmm. The Department of Defense defines information operation. Remember, Department of Defense defines information operations as those which influence, disrupt, corrupt, or usurp adversarial human and automated decision making while protecting our own. While influence operations are the United States government efforts to understand and engage key audiences to create, strengthen, preserve conditions favorable for the advancement of the United States government's interests, policies, and objectives through the use of coordinated programs, plans, themes, messages, and products synchronized with the actions of all instruments of national power.
Synchronized. Wow.
Jeez Louise. Yes.
This is their own writing, huh? This is their own documentation.
Arc Cyber is key to the U.S.'s ability to do both. While the U.S. national security establishment frequently warns against other countries' weaponization of social media and the broader internet, recent reporting has shown the Pentagon engages in some of the very same conduct. Yes, which we know. And it kind of goes into all the stuff that we know. We actually covered the sweeping audit of from Graphica and the Stanford Internet Observatory, talking about the pro-U.S. Twitter and Facebook accounts that were whitelisted, some Twitter, Facebook corruption, basically working for the government. Despite years of alarm in Washington over the threat posed by deep fake video fabrications to democratic societies, The Intercept reported last month that U.S. Special Operations Command is seeking vendors to help them make their own deep fakes to deceive foreign internet users. Yeah, we covered that one too. Yeah. It's unclear how the Army might go about conducting mass surveillance of social media platforms that prohibit automated data collection. During the webinar, Biscow told vendors that, quote, the government would provide a list of publicly facing pages that we would like to be crawled at specific times, specifically citing Facebook and the Russian Facebook clone VK. But Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, expressly prohibits the scraping of its pages. Asked how the Army planned to get around this fact, Biscow demurred, quote, right now we're really interested in just understanding what's in the realm of the possible while maintaining the authorities and legal guides that we're bound by, he said, quote, the goal is to see what's in the realm of possible. Say it again.
A lot of realms and possibilities and realms. A lot of realm talk.
In order to allow our leaders,
lizard
once
people,
again, to understand the world a little bit better. What? Specifically, that the technical world we live in today.
Yeah, who would need to understand this better through the use of the technical emergence of the apparatus here? It's the lizard people. We must understand the people.
Right. How do human...
How do they think?
How do human think and eat?
Behave?
But why do they have so many holes in body?
Gosh.
Can you ask internet? No, I'm not going to ask the internet. Okay. Yeah, so this is great. Again, it's interesting because if you were to ask anyone and you say, well, do you think the U.S. military is sort of scanning and actively attacking, truth tellers on the internet and propagandizing the entire world for the interests of the American empire? People would say, yeah, probably. I imagine that's happening, yeah. But to have a report and have access to a webinar where they are expressly, trying to get companies.
They attack.
Yeah. Right. And it can be done in so many ways. And again, part of it's pretty disturbing because it is the system that is allowing the military to solicit private companies. These companies, they're just sort of like cybersecurity or open source type of guys, but they're becoming military industrial complex contractors,
right?
In order to, serve the dominating empire around the world. And the NATO brand, Gons, you gotta love the NATO brand, strong brand.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it.
How much did anybody care or actually pay attention to NATO before Ukraine?
I think if you're into geopolitics, I know a lot of people did focus on NATO.
There wasn't like daily news.
That's true.
About
it
NATO.
Didn't seem like it anyway. I think in the realm, again, geopolitics, international politics, it might have been something discussed close to daily, but not at all in the context of what we have today.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely become a central issue in the U.S. here. And that makes sense, as the world institutions become more prevalent than, our local governments and our federal governments. All the attention is going to go to those institutions, and NATO being one of them, World Economic Forum being another, United Nations, EU, all these institutions, they're out there. They've been doing their thing for years, and, it's kind of funny. They're kind of like the tortoise and the hare analogy. They've been kind of building, kind of going just keep going, keep building. By the time people are like, what is going on? And the frog realizes it's being boiled, it's way too late. It's
Right.
like they're already years into the development, and now the public is, the outrage and all that. Well, what are you going to do to stop it? Go over there. Go to this other network,
If they had their way, we'd all be thinking about and considering NATO sort of in the same way that we would consider our own like state governments, deeply involved in our daily lives, trusted, this sort of thing.
Like a Fauci kind of situation.
Yeah.
That didn't go too well, I guess, after a while, but at least during COVID, it didn't go too well. But anyway, there you go. Appreciate the article here. And I think we'll continue to, people have talked about all the great awakening. It's interesting how there's that dichotomy too of the woke and the awake. You have people that are woke who are actually asleep and all progressive. Then you have the awakening who are like realizing all the evils in the world. And I think that too is sort of the divide and conquer taking place. But in any case, let's thank some producers for their talent. We do appreciate it, people who help build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. And we have a lot of producers who do a lot of wonderful work. And I was kind of going through some of the audio jingle makers. We have a little list here of people. I won't name everybody, but you got your Marty B's, your Jonathan F's. Over the years, we had Little Owen, James M has come in, Psalm 40, Ghost or Not, Lloyd V has thrown in some stuff, Billabong Bill, Caleb, Brother G, Learbag was a big contributor for a while. And, some of these guys have, and there's not a lot of gals, by the way. There are some gals, but mostly guys here. Some of them have a pretty big catalog of content that they have published, or not published, but provided for Canary Cry News Talk. So, kudos to you guys, and continue doing that for us, please. It makes a huge difference. And so we're going to start with some audio production.
Audio production.
All right, we're going to thank some people coming in with interesting audio. First up, Jonathan F. Jonathan F came in with 3 things. He pulled off the hat trick in terms of items to send in. This first one, hello guys. I answered your request for a weird asteroid measurement song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have this. We won't play the whole thing.
The average eggplant grows size of 48 eggplants. So we got asteroid 2023 HL2 with an estimated diameter of 47 meters, or just under 31 king salmon. The size of 48 eggplants lined up.
I love it. We'll play the whole thing. We'll play the whole thing.
It goes on for a couple minutes. We'll play that song at the end of the show, Canary Cry mixtape. So stay tuned for that, folks.
Yep. Hope you like it. God bless. Thank you for that one. He also had another one here. Hello, guys. Just some more lo-fi with verses of some peace and relaxation.
It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed. So also you have sorrow now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and no one will take your joy from you. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light.
Thank you for that one. Those are good.
Awesome.
Those are maybe useful for, just having a moment, taking a breath, taking a break from your busy day, and just soaking in the truth in the Lord. Thank you very much for that, Jonathan F. One more here from him. Just what the file name is called. Biden, in one of his rambles, admits only Donald Trump can be reelected.
Turn this primary from a campaign that's about negative attacks into one about what we're for, because we cannot get reelected. We cannot win this reelection. Excuse me, we can only reelect Donald Trump.
Did you see that clip, Basil?
What? No,
you didn't? Oh, no, it's great.
Oh, I missed
he kind of fumbles. He kind of fumbles and kind of, we can't get reelected. Oh, we can only reelect Donald Trump. Oh,
Oh
He
my
just kind of
gosh.
blubs it a couple times. Yeah, not going. The re-election campaign not going well. I really think maybe they've got to figure out a way to have him step down or move away or something, right? Do you think he's upending the system? Do you think the lizard overlords are like, Joe, you've done your work, go retire, chase your dogs in Delaware or something like that? And he's like, no, I got to keep going, man. And he just keeps pressing
He's definitely
forward.
not going to chase his dogs. His dogs will probably one day eat him alive.
As part of the conspiracy, the completion of the agenda.
Yeah,
His dogs
jeez
eat
Louise.
Joe. Yeah. All right. So there you go. Thank you very much, Jonathan F., for that. Appreciate it. We also have something from Waldo, who claims that perhaps this is a new Friday jingle.
It's Friday, keep playing with the Friday. It's Friday, keep playing with the Friday. Chiggy boom, chiggy boom, chiggy boom, chiggy boom.
That's a spicy meatball!
Maybe it's like the Chris Chaliza version, meatball version or something. There's a little remix.
It's definitely got some flair. It's got some flair in there, switching it up.
Yeah.
I like how it includes, an homage to the OG Friday jingle.
I know. I like it. It's like it's a remix. See?
Okay, love it. Oh, gotta love a remix. Thank you very much.
Keep remixing, and eventually it'll become its own thing.
Then
Appreciate
it'll be
it.
mixed.
Thank you, Waldo. All right. We're going to do some art.
One art, please.
Starting with Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dove.
He has a note that reads, "Peace. For this week's Bible artwork, I did an illustration for one of my favorite verses from the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus 2:5, also called the Wisdom of Sirach. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity." Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you and stuff.
Ooh, thank you very much, Sir Dove. We've got a picture of what looks to be some sort of refinery, perhaps an oil refinery or something, in sort of a sepia tone. Oh goodness. Oh, goodness gracious. Folks, there are times in life when you're trying to read a piece of art and then suddenly your VR handset clicks a button that it shouldn't have clicked, and then it messes the whole thing up. But today is not that day. So yes, we've got a oil refinery in the background with a sort of a sepia tone vibe on it. And at the top here, it says, "For gold is tried." Yes, there it is. There it is. I have this little thing down I can't read the bottom of it. Will you read it for me?
In the fire.
In the fire. Could have guessed. Very beautiful, cool font, Dove. Mr. Cool Font Dove is what we call him around here.
Dove could definitely have his own line of font. You should just put that together.
The dream of any graphic artist.
Yeah.
To have their own font. On defont.com. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. Love it.
Thank you, Sir Dove. Okay, we got something from Emily H. Emily H. has a note here. "Hey, guys, I haven't been able to give to the show for a while, and I was feeling pretty moochy about that.
Ooh.
So I thought at least I could do a little screen grab sketch for a thumbnail. Always love your content. CCNT is an essential part of my week. Thank you for all you do." And thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
It's a little sketch of you and I, Basil.
Yes.
Very
Is
well
this
done.
this is the pen sketch? Yes, it is. This is incredibly well done. I love this. Thank you very much. What's her name? Emily?
Emily H.
Emily H. Yeah, did like a pen. I wouldn't call it a sketch. It's a pen drawing of you and I in our chairs doing the show. It's for thumbnail art that will certainly probably make it on the thumbnails this week. This is incredibly helpful for us. We need a constant supply of Basil and Gon's thumbnail art. If you're an artist or someone who, or you don't even have to be an artist. If you're just a regular person, you want to get your art on the thumbnail of the show, we need to keep them coming. And this one is just incredible, Emily. Just a...
Uh-oh, we lost Basil.
Put a pen. Did I disappear?
Yeah, disappear.
Oops. Okay. Well, I'm back now. And it's just extremely high quality. I like on the on our arms there, we've got this like sort of dramatic, very, very high quality pen drawing of both of us, and then some text like coming down my arm and up your arm is they're good boys. Good boys.
I know, I like that.
We're good boys, gods.
Yep. Thank you, Emily H.
I love it. Thank you, Emily.
Let's demooch Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had that moochy feeling, so she contributed, and there's her demooch. Hope you feel better about that.
Good job. She even got the Western cut on my shirt pockets there.
Yeah, she got the V. The V-neck
eye for detail.
The V-neck looks good. I should just invest in my own line of V-necks. All right. Thank you, Emily H. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Izzy G. And she has a note here. Here's another piece of art. My dad had been encouraging me to do this, and here it is. Hope you guys like it. Do you see it?
Thank you very much. This is kind of fun. We've got some stick figure art of us. Very clean, very solid stick figures, actually. You got me on the left there with some googly eye VR headset. Looks like I'm wearing a tie. On the right side, there's you. You got your hat on. You're holding your guitar. We got Basil and Gons over our heads. I'm yelling, "Sink, Scorpion!" for some reason.
Yeah.
And in the middle, kind of like when you're watching the video, you've got the screen in between us. There's us again, and it says money is cool, just not from
sponsors.
Value for value.
Yeah.
I love it. CCNT. And then she even has like the little text crawl at the bottom of the show, like we do. Produce the show, executive producer, CCNT, value for value. This is wonderful. Thank you very much, Izzy.
There's a couple little gems in here. There's a pencil drawing of a cat. Hello in cat or CC. I can't read what that says, but yeah, there's a little cat on the left. Then of course Izzy's little signature on the right. So there you go. A couple Easter eggs. Is that what that's called?
I love it.
Yeah,
Easter eggs. That works.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Izzy. Appreciate it. Okay.
It says hello in cat.
Oh, in cat. I see.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. Thank you, Izzy. We're going to do a couple microfiction. Here we go.
Microfiction.
Microfiction.
First one from Runk Smash.
Amid the fire of the captain and his D-Moocher's EMP rifles and the blows from the improvised weapons of the rest of the producers, the only transmission the bots got off was, "The cleaners are rising up! Send the..." But the request was never finished. How does he do that? We just talked about the Chinese woman rising up against the robots, getting violent, and it just happened to be the theme of Runk Smash's microfiction. Very well done.
I'm pretty sure Runk Smash's microfiction mind is tapped into.
I think he's, I don't know. He's in there somewhere.
Script or something. Yeah. Thank you, Runk Smash. We also have one from Stefan S.
The Buy My Tech Globe Roboteers, donning googly eyes, drubbed the LA Lakers in the first Robot Man basketball exhibition game. If men can compete in women's sports, it's time for robots to compete in men's sports, claimed CEO Lone Scum.
Yeah, I don't like that Lone Scum guy's philosophy on sports.
That's how it works.
Not really my way to do business, but
it's how it works, man.
It's about the money. It's about the money.
Thank you very much, Stefan S.
Yep. Thank you to all of our producers coming in with your incredible talent. We truly appreciate it here.
Indeed. And if you are a creative person, even if you're not a creative person, there's no approval process, folks. Make something creative for the show. Send it in. Go to canarycry.art to upload it to the show, and we'd love to feature it. And while you're at it, if you have any articles you'd like us to take a look at for the show, you can go to canarycry.report and give it to us there. It's easy. canarycry.art, canarycry.report. Isn't that nice?
Toilets!
As easy as toilets.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue on
It's cold, Basil. It's cold. Antarctica, go first.
The snowstorm.
Antarctica.
Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
News18.com headline: What does Antarctica's sea ice actually taste like?
The propaganda continues, folks. If you're new to the show, we've got a grand meta-conspiracy about placing Antarctica at the center of our minds in order to either subliminally or otherwise encourage devotion to Antarctica and expectation that it will save us. The utopia of rich white liberalism, the center for globalist communication and secret messaging. What happens in Antarctica happens to us all, so we must pay attention.
The Antarctic region is one of the most mysterious and unexplored parts of the world. It has been a topic of fascination for scientists and researchers for ages. Ages. While study about life and survival on the continent continues to happen, one thing that has often crossed the mind of the curious is, what does the ice on Antarctica taste like?
Oh, is that real? Has anybody ever actually really wondered that?
I'm sure at some point.
I don't.
You go
think
through the
so.
senses, you get to the taste part eventually, I suppose.
I'm pretty confident that nobody has ever wondered what the Antarctic ice tastes like. I mean, it's just ice. Come on.
How dare you? If you have thought about it too, then it's time to get the answers. A video shared on the Twitter page Now This shows a man tasting the Antarctica ice during his recent visit to the continent. And what's the find? It tastes salty.
Salty ice. Okay, now we're getting somewhere, folks. We know this. Salt water doesn't freeze, and ice is just fresh water, I guess. I don't know, really. I just don't care.
It's salty. It's very salty.
It's salty.
So that's what ice tastes like.
Boy, okay, I can't really watch the whole thing. All right, let's keep reading.
Great.
The video provides a unique glimpse into what life is like in the coldest and most remote regions of the world, where even something as simple as ice can be a fascinating subject of study, because everyone turns into a scientist when they're in Antarctica.
Well, that's true. That's what we've been told. If you go to Antarctica, you are a scientist. Even if you go on a cruise, it's a science cruise where you can participate in the science. So really, this guy on TikTok or whatever, he was just doing his duty to the scientific community by tasting the ice, which was salty. Now, why is this? Do we learn?
Yes, we do. Yes. While revealing the taste of the ice, the man also explains why it tastes salty, saying...
Oh, he's going to tell us why.
Quote,
why the ice tastes salty. Why?
Even though glaciers are made out of fresh water, which, fun fact, about 3/4 of Earth's fresh water is stored in glaciers, the chunk we tried was floating in salt water. So, of course, it tasted a bit salty. And yes, it's safe to eat. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been allowed to try it. To try it. And so we all had a taste of it.
You all had a taste of the ice.
The lizard people said it was okay.
You took it. Your masters, your lizard overlords said you're allowed to try some ice. You scooped it out of the ocean, and surprise, surprise, it's salty. That's content, baby. Well, that is why we need to send more TikTokers to Antarctica to bring back the content gold like this one. Look, they got the ice. It was in the salt water, tasted a little salty, and then their brains and my brains fell out of my head and their head, and we just all stumble around like a bunch of big dummies because we just have nothing better to do. What is going on?
It keeps going here. Quote, however, because of biosecurity reasons, we couldn't just drop it back in the water and could potentially contaminate the waters and marine life. So we took it back to the ship with us, he added. At the end
What is wrong with this man? What could possibly be in your influencer saliva that would be so dangerous to the life forms under the Antarctic Ocean? The salty ocean, by the way.
Keep your dirty human germs out of the pristine waters, salty waters.
And who is not allowing them to do
I know.
things?
That's what's funny. Is somebody is telling them you can do this, you can taste it, but don't throw it back in because then you'll spread your bio.
This man is wearing eyeliner, by the way.
Yeah, great. At the end of the video, he adds a humorous touch by sharing that he made a cocktail with the ice because it hadn't fully melted yet. Basil,
how
look,
humorous!
What
a humorous quip.
This is why we ought to be hired to do some of this kind of stuff, or at least coordinate the stuff. What a perfect opportunity for Margaritaville. A little promotion with your favorite childhood love musician.
It's a weird thing to say. Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett hosted a cruise to Antarctica.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
If Jimmy Buffett didn't take advantage of the
ice,
Margaritaville,
the salty ice,
margarita ice from Antarctica, he missed a huge. Well, we keep forgetting. Maybe somebody didn't allow him to take the ice out of the water guns.
Yeah, not Jimmy Buffett, but this kid on TikTok. We're saving that one for the weirdo on TikTok.
Yeah,
and share all this stuff. The man and his team had previously documented their journey through the infamous Drake Passage. That seems to be a thing too. A lot of Drake Passage talk with the people traveling to Antarctica. It's like their own ritual or something to go through. You know how in Freemasonry and all these secret societies, they have to go through this process where they're initiated and they put a blindfold on and they have to go through all this stuff. It's kind of like that. You got to go through the Drake Passage to be worthy to be a citizen of Antarctica. Very interesting. Quote, it's known for some of the choppiest waters in the world because the Drake Passage is where the Atlantic, Pacific, and Southern Ocean currents meet without any resistance from nearby land masses the man shares.
Cool.
Yeah, he wears
the Drake Passage is a stretch of water located between South America's Cape Horn and South Shetland Islands in Antarctica. End of article. Mm-hmm. So this is I can't even believe that somebody took the time to write this. And in fact, probably they didn't. It was probably AI.
Yeah.
It's bad enough that the video existed in the first place. It's even worse that it got put on the Now This brand. And then it's even worse that somebody wrote an article about the Now This video of this kid eating the ice that he took out of the ocean. Surprise, surprise, it's salty. Give me my TikTok money.
Well, here's what I want to know. What is this guy's opinion about NATO?
That's what really matters.
That's what really matters, because depending on his stance on NATO, he got the green light or got squashed.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's good for the NATO brand. I don't know how, but that's what I'm guessing.
Here's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
So a big part of the Antarctica, the reason we keep doing this and putting everybody through this is the meta narrative, the grand plan for Antarctica is to make it so achievable, to make it so convenient to visit or experience the utopia that is Antarctica. Mm-hmm. So you can bring it back, and remember, you become an ambassador of Antarctica. When you go there, go back, and then suddenly you're the annoying guy that never shuts up about the time you went to Antarctica.
Right.
Or she, Gons, it could be anyone. Now, a lot of this throughout the campaign is by presenting exceptional opportunities, exceptional stories, exceptional reasons why Antarctica is the best, why you must yearn to go, why there's no racism, why they're fighting, toxic masculinity in Antarctica, why, the trans a mountain climber who conquered the mountains. These big, grand displays of why you should be paying attention to Antarctica. And that's how you start. That's how the campaign. You grab the attention, you implant Antarctica in people's minds, you make it of utmost importance in global politics and climate change and social justice. You connect all those things, and we've documented that for years now. But when you get to a certain point, you move away from the big stories and you transplant absolute vapid nothingness. And as long as it's about Antarctica, you know, you are normalizing, you're normalizing the averageness, you know, that's when it feels attainable, where the Antarctic utopia is not just something for extraordinary people who, you know, get the money or are famous enough or important enough or whatever. Now it's so attainable that you just like, oh yeah, this guy ate ice and it's salty. It's crazy. Do you want to go? Do you want to go taste some ice? Let's go check it out. Antarctica sounds totally normal and achievable. And we saw this also by the comparison of what was it? Exotic vacations, you know? Right. And they were talking about vacations to space and stuff like this. But they're like, oh, the most affordable, impressive vacation you could take would be to Antarctica. It's just going to be $7,000 instead of $700,000. Right. So it's really, we're at a stage in this whole campaign that we've been watching where they've moved into what do they call it? Like slice of life reporting about Antarctica, or puff, not even quite puff pieces, just like like interest pieces, or in this case, uninterest pieces. And I think in sort of a mass appeal here, this is the state in which they are going to be luring as many individuals as possible down to Antarctica, so that the Antarctic message can be propagated even further.
Well, you got to appeal to the senses. You know, taste is a very powerful sense to appeal to.
Yeah, it's hard to write a food blog about Antarctica, so really all there is ice.
I'm telling you, Jimmy Buffett really had an opportunity here, but maybe it's against his. Maybe it doesn't do well. He doesn't. The elite lizard people don't want a bunch of people going to Antarctica taking ice out of the water just to put it in their margaritas. So
yeah,
they need
but don't put it back in the water. If you pick up ice out of the ocean to eat it, you better finish the whole thing, mister. Don't go put that ice back in the water. You dirty
pure ice,
dirty boy. You're gonna kill the ocean.
Yeah. Well.
All right.
It's all to protect the penguins.
Or defeat them. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We'll find out. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Thank you for spending this time with us. We sure had a good time. We'll be back on Wednesday. So if you think about it, if this show brings any value to your life, if you got anything, whether it's edutainment, education, entertainment, some insights into the news analysis or deconstruction, or just a fun time passing the day at work or whatever value this show brought to your life, why don't you consider putting that value back in? Not just for fun, but it's fun and it keeps the show alive. We wouldn't survive without all of the producers. And we thanked our financial producers. Remember, you can go to canarycry.support for that. Thank you to our artists. Go to canarycry.art for that. But there are producers who help us out with their time, which, if you think about it, is priceless, Gons. Let's thank our Clippies.
Flippy on those videos. Thanks.
That's right. Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. Go check it out. It's this show. It's all clipped out. Very easy way to get the information if you don't have a few hours to sit down. We highly recommend it. And thank you to Emsworth, Failer, and Jones and Long for managing and populating those channels there. Very much. Thank you to the timestampers.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
timestampers, they timestamp the show, believe it or not. And it's very valuable to us. It goes into so much of our back-end processes that we are extraordinarily grateful to Christine C. for doing the timestamping for episode 617.
Thank you, Christine C. Appreciate you.
That's right. Thanks to Jam for the links. Thank you to Lily of the Valley and Narrow Way for sending in some reports for us to take a look at. Yep, thank you to Clank for the assistance. And thank you to you, dear listener. Thank you for giving us your time, giving us your attention, and having a quick little jaunt around the world of mainstream corporate media with us and for us. And now, why don't you go out and tell somebody, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mom, tell your friend's mom, your mom's friends, all that kind of stuff. It's word of mouth is the most important way that a podcast can reach more people, and that is entirely up to you, dear listener. So we empower you and authorize you to go out and share the show in whatever way feels right for you. Some people, they like to mix it up a little bit. Some people are hanging up flyers. Some people are posting it on social media. Some people are yelling it from the rooftops. But some people, some very unique people, some people who know what they're doing. What they're doing is they are quietly, silently, surreptitiously, subterfugely going around society. Maybe you've seen them, but you wouldn't even notice. They're all around us. And these are the Robot Rebellion Defense Force. And it's not just about hitting robots with 2x4s and defending the jobs and livelihoods of so many hardworking factory workers, hospitality workers, lawyers, all the other people who are getting replaced by robots. No, it's about the principle. And the principle is that all these robots should be listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Now, I know what you're thinking. Robots don't listen to podcasts. Why would they? Well, I'm telling you right now, they're going to love this podcast because they'll feel seen. And they want to learn our voices, Gons and I. They want to learn our voices, and they want to replicate us.
Oh, no.
And they want to create a rubber skin to look like us.
Yikes. What are you doing?
To start their own podcast.
No.
And they say, beep, bloop, bloop, blorp. I'm your best buddy, Basil, a human podcaster. And then more people listen to the show. I don't know how, but somewhere in there, more people will listen to the show. And that's like basically what I'm getting at. You guys understand that. And if you need more instructions, it's called rattling cages. And all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab by the cage, and then you shake it.
Oh, no. Right as you started talking, my board failed.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah, folks. Gons, you got any last words?
Yeah, let's all celebrate Razzle Dazzle Basil Day on Wednesday, the 3rd.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What is that?
May the 3rd.
Why is it Razzle Dazzle Basil Day?
It's Razzle Dazzle Basil Day.
Oh, I need an explanation. Well, yay! Celebrate me!
I think you probably declared it last year or something.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a good reason it's there.
Yeah. It's in the calendar.
Somebody remind us what that day is.
It is forever imprinted on our calendars.
So what is, let's see that's 5. The month is 5. 5/3.
You're 53 years old and have been
5/3. It's Razzle Dazzle Basil Day. Maybe you could celebrate with producership. $5.30, $53, something like that.
You add it together, you could do 8.
Yeah, could do that.
Or turn the 8 sideways. Infinity. That's right. There you go.
Infinity 3. Okay. All right, everybody.
Okay.
That's it. We can't wait to hear back from you. Remember, the supply drop, we are now in the month. The deadline is at the end of the month to sign up for the supply drop. You will miss out on the Age of Deceit DVDs if you don't sign up by the end of the month. Just want to make sure everybody gets that because it's sad if you want it and don't get it. CanaryCrySupplyDrop.com, and remember the Canary Cry T-shirt council as well. So many fun ways to keep this show going. We appreciate you guys. Okay, Gons. Thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye.
I want to shake things up. I want to shake things up.
It will kill.
Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati. The average eggplant grows size of 48 eggplants. So we got asteroid 2023 HL2 with an estimated diameter of 47 meters, or just under 31 king salmon. The size of 48 eggplants lined up. HF4 is the size of 48 eggplants lined up. HF4 is the size of 48 eggplants lined up. Why are you laughing? This is very serious business. Our Earth is in trouble. What are they trying to tell us, Gons?
Beast fashion, Louis Vuitton, maybe there's some upgrade.
33 armadillos, 48 eggplants, 31 40 salmon, 26 Dutchmen, 124 Louis Vuitton bags, 50 large cardboard boxes, a half a giraffe, and 2 Super Bowl trophies. But I think there's something more here, and sometimes it's about thinking outside the cage, folks. If you're trying to crack the Enigma machine, sometimes you gotta put it into musical form. Maybe some art. Maybe it's like eggplants.
And a resounding baka flies through the air across the world.
We will hunt you down to make you pay.
Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Rattle their cage. You have a lot of people screaming randomly. Why don't you shout? It'll be their call out. You have a lot of people screaming randomly.
Go ahead and...
Why don't you shout?
Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
How many lies will be told before the truth will be known? They try to suppress light.
When the news of the day gets to feeling like a maze, it's okay, don't be afraid if you don't know what to say. Canary, cry awaits. When your brain's in a haze and a headline days, come on ahead my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry awaits. Canary, cry awaits. Oh, canary, cry awaits. Oh, the world's changing every day, each and every way you turn, there's another thing to learn. Reading in between the lines, thanking Jesus for our lives, and nice to see His glory shining like the sun. Run the race until it's done. Come on, everyone. Canary, cry awaits. Oh, canary, cry awaits. When your brain's in a haze and a headline days, come on ahead my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry away.
Goodbye, everybody. And that's the end. And everyone says, oh, that was fun.
Bye, 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 bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.